let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safeway Liquid Beer for the podcast.
Be right again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
Check-in, come on, let's go. It's the AM Nasty Big Hello.
It's not static, AM radio.
It's the Cool Ben Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go. Everybody tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
And those Macromala intros are cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in, he's your dealer for life. Let's crack at 6 o'clock and lager with some sirloin bites.
Great morning to you and welcome back to another installment of the Nielson Show here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, presented by Play Alberta. We are streaming, of course, as usual on the iHeart, the TuneIn Radio app, live at EdmontonSportsTalk.com and on the YouTube today for your visual accompaniment. So good morning to everybody on there. The nasty chat is humming along. If you are watching along this morning, smash that like button, hit the thumbs up. Do it for Comrade Wil Fraser here in the chair for Dustin Nielsen today. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And you'll be kept abreast of everything going on EST. As mentioned, Will in for Dustin. He's got the call tonight out in Winnipeg. Elks and Bombers kicking off week 4 in the CFL.
Should be an easy one for the Elks.
Do they cover?
That's
the question.
What
now.
is the spread? Is
I think
it
it's
7?
a 10. J. Milne from the afternoons with Reid Wilkins said his Jays play of the day. I think he was 10 and something to cover the 10, but we'll see. I'm sure Dustin will do something up for his early bird play of the day regarding that.
Okay.
Or when the Arvidsson trade might take place.
All
that
right.
could be another avenue you go there as well. YouTube Trev here as well, behind the monitors, locking it down. We'll get his thoughts momentarily here on all the action that broke down yesterday. You heard it here as we were wrapping up the show. Evander Kane, of course, dealt to the Canucks. And everybody was in a hoopla about that. No warm body coming the other way, but cash is king, Wil Fraser. And the Oilers got a boatload of that with, what, is this a favor being done here? Some sort of an IOU from the Canucks?
I don't get it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't, like, I would have thought after the Vasily Podkolzin debacle, the Canucks would not have returned any of the Oilers' phone calls. I would have thought after that they'd been like, you know what, you made us look a little silly there.
Well, it's 1-for-1 now. Put Colson for Kane almost, and the 4th round pick comes back. That's what they gave up. So
right,
you're getting Pod Colson and a 4th for Kane. That is the warm body. I don't know what's going on there, and I know getting into Canucks fan land if you want, and online and comment sections. It's hot trash. Like, I mean, that was a dysfunctional room before.
Right.
Adding him to the... I know he's coming home and all this stuff, but I think for the Oilers making out, getting that cap space, not having to retain a pick, sure, whatever, but I think that walking around money now for
It does feel like let's steelman the argument, as they like to say. Let's create the situation. You're in Vancouver Canucks land, and you have been living in a fantasy land of we're a number one team, right? We're a team that can compete with the top
everybody
teams,
is these days,
right?
Yeah, everybody's got a shot.
And then you go through whatever last year was. And the temptation might be to be like, that was a one-off. And we're actually a number one team. And maybe, and I will give them credit if they've decided, actually, the one-off was the year before. The one-off was when we were at the top of the division. We're actually a mess. And we have nothing to lose at this point. So, yeah, let's go get the hometown kid. See if his chaos can work for. Evander Kane worked for good stretches here in Edmonton.
Sure.
Especially come playoff time. When healthy, he's exactly what this team needed. So maybe he'll be exactly what Vancouver needs. But at $5.5 million with his injury history and his antics in what looks to be a pretty delicate locker room, doesn't seem like a great mix.
Yeah, and he'll be on a show me, right? I mean, it'll be a type of year where he wants to prolong things and get a sweet. So, I mean, yeah, I just think for the Oilers right now and where they stand, I mean, you're looking to get a guy like Frederick who maybe checks some boxes, not all the boxes. Kane being of unicornish type of style. But,
yeah, there's only one Evander Kane.
Yes, but if you're going to fill a toughness role or whatever you want to do, I mean, they've already lined the other guy up apparently, so... Yeah, love him or hate him. I know a lot of people love to hate him. I mean, being indifferent here, it's just, I think you could tell the time was up and over, and at least you're not having to.
Well, yeah,
I think this is a good deal, maybe all around for all parties, given their situation.
Evander Kane as your number one right winger playing with Connor McDavid is perfect. He's perfect at $5.5 million, doing everything that he does. But I don't know if he's that player anymore. And I think that's what the Oilers decided.
Yeah.
That he is best suited as a third or fourth line winger, and you can't pay $5.5 million for a third or fourth line winger. And so, yeah, they've changed it out. They've decided to go in a different direction.
780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. Have your say in there.
It's the Bling Box. It's the Bling Box. It's the Paris Jewelers inbox. And they got lots of fancy, shiny things. Look at this, look at that. Not just for the ladies. They got jewelry for men, too. The Ring Box, the Bling Box, the Paris Jewelers inbox.
Yeah, it is. Meet Pat John today, live at Paris Jewelers. Paris Jewelers, huge selection of engagement rings, wedding bands. Do not pay for 1 year right now. Stores in West Ed, Kingsway, Londonderry, Sherwood Park Mall, St. Albert, or online, parisjewelers.com. That number again, 780-218-9999. Let's go to YouTube, Trev. Trev, your thoughts. I know you were hankering for a warm body, a hockey type of deal, but you've had some time to sleep on this, almost 24 hours out. How are you feeling? What are you thinking? Your thoughts on the Kane deal?
Yeah, right out of the gate, I remember as soon as it was announced, courteous of Evander Kane putting it on Twitter because that's just his thing. I was like, oh, is this Thatcher Demko? Is Thatcher Demko coming to Edmonton? Are you kidding me? Obviously, that wasn't the case.
You are the biggest optimist in the world.
I know. I really am.
Start high and then
bless you,
I really
buddy.
am.
I love it.
So, and then I was like, it was just a fourth in return, but I'm like, this is disappointing. But the more and more you look at it, the more and more it makes sense. So I'm completely okay with it. You free up the 5 point whatever there cap space. So that's going to be huge for the Oilers going forward. They were against the cap quite a bit. So they're going to be able to utilize that money, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. It's probably, it's not going to be anything crazy. You got to take care of business first. But as far as the fuss in Vancouver, I don't really think. I think where it becomes the issue is if Evander Kane signs there long term. Like after this year, he's going to be very, very comfortable. But as we saw in the first year in Edmonton, that was by far his best year.
His earlier years are usually
Yeah, right. So like he's going there. He's not going to be the Evander Kane that we saw in recent memory here in Edmonton, where he got extremely comfortable with the team. Right.
Yeah.
It's a new team, new organization. It's going to be a show me year. I'm expecting Evander Kane to be on his best behavior because it probably will be his last contract in the NHL. So he's going to be on his best behavior. Where the issue is for Canucks fans is if they do sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal, then, he's going to be very comfortable with the team. And I feel like the stuff that has kind of been with him his whole career will start to show. But for the first year, it's going to be 1 year. So for the first year, I really do think he's going to be motivated. I think he's going to be physical. I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's going to help the Canucks more than he's going to hurt them. So from a Canucks, point of view, I don't think you should be as frustrated or annoyed. You got rid of the one locker room cancer and JT Miller and you're getting this one. I don't think you should look at it like that. I think he's going to be on his best behavior, but I think it's, for both teams, very different positions and why they made the trade. I think it works out for both.
The Vancouver Canucks have brought in a first line winger.
Yeah. Yeah,
the Oilers traded out a third line winger.
Yeah,
the Canucks have brought in a first line.
Different perspectives there from both parties.
Different.
Library Pat says it's the Stan Bowman rule. Don't retain salary. Duncan Keith, Evander Kane. It's that simple. Library Pat. Once again, 780-218-9999. You are texting in for $20 to A&W. That is the text of the day today. So get him in and we'll pick one lucky text. It's not a really fooling around show though today. All business, straight business. We're going to get to it in the opening hour here. A plethora of guests and stars on today's show. You included.
I think this is the most guests we've ever had.
Is this it? Are we setting a record today?
I don't think we've ever had 5 on a show before.
Greg Wyshynski of ESPN. He'll be joining us at around 6:30, just after our sports update here. We'll be going over the draft. Some things being discussed at the PA. Obviously, the Kane deal, what the Oilers might do next or might not.
JJ Paterka.
Hey,
deal.
the Sabres do it again.
Wow, I don't get it.
I don't think his name wasn't even mentioned in the parting, media post Kevin Adams had. Like, we'd like to thank him for his service. Blah blah. He wasn't even. It was like, we intend to. Like, it's having to justify it to the fan base, but without mentioning him or thanking him for his time.
Like the Oilers went through something. It's not an apples to apples comparison here, but there are similarities in that they traded away Taylor Hall, but they brought back Adam Larson.
Mm-hmm. Hey, don't slant Kesselring. And or don't.
Like, I sometimes you need a different look.
Test, check 1, 2.
Maybe that's what
you
you're
need
for,
unique New York. You know you need unique New York.
That's me, boys. I'm sorry. That's my.
Oh, that's him. All right.
That's our first guest of the day, actually. Frank Cerabelli.
I don't get how the Sabres are different. Just see them being worse.
They're not as serious. No, they're not.
Like, how do you take is Paterka 22 now? Is he 23?
He's a young,
a guy with multiple 20-plus goal seasons, 65-ish points. Like, how do you remove that from your lineup and not replace it with something of substance?
The Utah Mammoth are a more serious organization than the Buffalo Sabres.
Definitely look like, wow, good for them.
Yeah. Fired up for Gemco Fireplaces will round out the opening hour. Then it's Luke Gazdic at 7:05, his final appearance on the show for the season, so we'll get his thoughts on Oilers off-season. Dusty's already got the Play Alberta Early Bird Special up. We'll discuss that at around 7:20. I Got Beef for Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats at 7:30. Reid Wilkins from the smash hit Reid Wilkins Show will be on the way at 7:40. Obviously talking Oilers and maybe a little Elks as well tonight. As mentioned, Elks Bombers kicking off week 4 from Winnipeg. Dustin Nielsen will have the call on TSN. Bruce Boudreau will be bumping the Kind of Easy trivia today at 8. He's just sliding right in there. So we'll connect with Bruce on the video link.
No Kind of Easy trivia?
Oh, we'll have that as well. I said we're already fooling around too much.
All right.
Not enough time. After Bruce, we'll do the trivia quickly. 3 questions too many for Park Mazda.
So I've got extra time today.
You got about a 20-minute cushion yet to.
Thank God.
Jeff Paterson, Canucks Army, will have him by from a Vancouver point of view on the Kane deal yesterday and what more might be coming. She loves Demko, all that stuff out of Vancouver. So they're going to be busy too. And how much will it affect the Oilers, or how much will they be connected moving forward? And the wrap for William Hupp, obviously, to wrap up the show. We are coming to you live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio. If you are getting amped for tonight's football game, get a couple of those snack wraps in you, or just reading the rumor mill of the NHL right now, which I told the boys on 100.3 The Bear today, Edmonton's best rock, Yukon and McCord, Bree and Jess Jackson taking you home. You could probably power a small town with the rumor mill right now, with the way it's kind of.
It has power to it.
Every single forward except JJ Paterka has been linked to the Edmonton Oilers thus far, and I with getting a little bit of money, the Bouchard has to be taken care of. Arvidsson deal is expected. Frederick deal, but then you got a little bit of dough. Where do you put that? Where does it go? I don't know. Every name has been mentioned though.
Yeah, I'm very happy for this town that we have a completely competent and competitive hockey team.
You haven't been on the show since. I don't even want to say it.
I'm happy for everyone that the off seasons are now serious about trying to win a Stanley Cup.
We don't care about the draft.
And I miss the crazy days sometimes. I miss when everything could be thrown against a wall and you could see what stuck. I miss it. I miss feeling like someone might take controls of the plane and just drive it into the ground.
You miss feeling. You should move out to Vancouver.
Yeah, I miss the panic.
Yeah.
I miss and there are still some Oiler fans out there that still have that panic in them at all times. It doesn't make any sense, right?
No, that's a DNA type of
right.
feeling.
Like it's an abused childhood that has led to that. But there's a part of me that does miss the rodeo-esque type days of Oilers off seasons where everything was on the table because nothing was working.
And it was good to have a call-in line then as well, right? Like that's taking your calls in reaction. Atif chimes into the Paris Jewelers inbox. Why did the Vancouver Canucks fan bring a ladder to the game?
Why?
Because they heard that the team was trying to get out of the basement.
Hey-o!
Yeah. Not going to get you to A&W, but a valiant effort there. 780-218-9999.
Feels like he crafted that himself.
Oh, yeah. No, he's a man of many talents.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the sporting world, and Trev will keep you up to date with the sports updates throughout the show, but Max Scherzer returned to the mound last night for the Jays. Looked pretty good. If he can stay healthy, I mean, that'll be a big boon to that pitching rotation. 5-4, Cleveland takes it in 10 innings. That series wraps up later this morning. Riverhawks Cactus Rats will be in action tonight. Riverhawks, a game you heard live here on EST last night out in Victoria. That series wraps up later tonight. Of course, the NBA draft, not a big surprise, right? I mean, Cooper Flagg, we all kind of knew that.
Yeah.
And then you just move on throughout the day. I know Rip City Step here really wants us to dive in Yang time. What was it, Yang Hansen? Didn't he get drafted out of the crowd? Probably not a lot of time spent on the NBA draft today. Unless you want to venture there for kind of easy trivia. You might go full five.
No, actually, I already have my idea for kind of easy trivia.
Who are the picks from 10 to 15?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
You son of a gun. And then, of course, week 4 in the CFL, which I am selfishly amped up for. Elks and Bombers tonight. Should be fascinating. I know the Elks 0-2. Ticats also 0-2. They'll be hosting the 2-0 Alouettes. I do have a funny feeling one of those teams, probably the Ticats at home, might get a result this weekend. But looking for Edmonton to keep it close. We had Nick Anderson on the show earlier this week. He preached consistency. If they can put a full 60 together on all 3 facets of the ball, perhaps you can do something there. It's going to be tough in Winnipeg. Obviously, Calero's back. That defense is humming. So 2-0 Bombers, 0-2 Elks tonight out in Winnipeg. Join Maddie and Milne, the Green and Gold Kickoff Show, as the coverage begins at 5:30 here on EST later this evening to get you set for the game. And, of course, on the golf, Rocket Classic from Detroit Golf Club Round 1 is underway, and we'll keep you up to date on the scoring there. Wil Fraser once again in for Dustin Nielsen, who I'll have the call tonight. Lieutenant Eric, YouTube Trev with you. Once again, Greg Wyshynski will be coming up at around 6:30. We'll get his thoughts on the draft. Some things trickling up between the NHL and the PA, maybe an 84-game schedule now. That's being rumored. I mean,
sure.
That moves your needle, doesn't it?
That's what we want, is more.
I think Wyshynski will be also attending an Islanders draft party, so I was reading. So we'll We'll catch up with Greg. Always a nice chat with him. Once again, a guest in the 6 o'clock hour. A little weird. Thoughts on the JJ Paterka deal as well.
Yeah.
We'll
also take your For the Love of the Game quotes today. The Kevin Costner movie, Engage the Mechanism, because Jake DeGrom at 37 years old had a perfect game through 6 innings last night before it was broken up.
You know,
But
Dusty's never
Jake
seen
DeGrom.
Dusty's never seen Dances with Wolves.
That doesn't surprise me. That's a 3-hour movie. He couldn't do that.
it's
He can't
such a
hack that.
it's a classic.
Tatanka.
And he makes in the coffee. The Nielson Show is presented by Southport Chevrolet.
Tatanka.
Drive a little,
great
save a lot.
movie.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it's Costner. He loves Costner, so why not? This
Who's
month,
the Canadian actor?
well, there's lots of them.
Not Lauren Green. It was anyways.
The woman?
No. I just heard an interview with him, and the name will come up to me. But the quote that stuck with me was he was asked about his age because he's now over 70. He goes, "No, the age is good. Like my memory's holding up. The only problem I have is I'm starting to remember things I never did."
Oh.
And I was like, that's very true. That is very true. As a 47-year-old man, there are things that you like look back on and you're like, yeah, I remember that. I don't think I did that. But my brain's telling me I did. Yeah.
Confessing to crimes that you did not commit. Eh?
Yeah.
Well, a caught in 3 squares might be the best thing at that age.
Yeah.
Month of June employee pricing down at Southport Chevrolet. Silverado 1500s and Silverado HDs. You can get them now all through the month of June. Southport Chevrolet. Visit them today out in Fort Saskatchewan. Drive a little, save a lot, or www.southportchev.com. We're also going. Did you know we're going to Mexico? Yeah, you were made aware of this.
You tell me every time I'm in here.
Have you gotten your?
You just rub it in my face.
February 22 to March 1. Dusty and I and a bunch of you. 50% already. Apparently has been sold for this trip. $2,490 for direct flight transfers, 1 checked bag, food and booze, all inclusive.
Graham Greene.
Planet Hollywood, Cancun. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
They're all Canadian in the cast. Most of them, anyways. It's like a heavily Canadian cast.
Yeah.
Join us today, though. Yeah. Contact Chelsea at Expedia Cruises, 780-970-4834. If you want to, you boys like Mexico. Remember that whole
You boys like Mexico?
Yeah. The Snosberries, eh? Yeah. February 22 to March 1, Planet Hollywood, Cancun. Join us, won't you? Once again, that number 780-970-4834. Contact Chelsea. Tell her you're a nasty. She's a nasty too, and she will hook you up. Library Pat says Graham Greene. Your boy Barron says Graham Greene. CB radio guy Graham Greene. I love the fact that a lot of you.
Fantastic.
This warms my my loins here.
He's a funny man.
Troll
dude.
says Cardinal.
Yeah.
No, well,
if you ever see an interview
Not
with
Lauren.
him, he's fantastic.
This lineup is more stacked than that chick behind Tippett, Pat in the county says. That's a pretty good text.
Hey-o.
Might get you to
That's
A&W.
a throwback.
Speaking of A&W, who got text of the day yesterday? I think it was it you, Rebella? I think it was somebody with the Macramel intro, but stop. Yeah, you had the Proclaimers one.
I would walk 500 miles.
EST legal analyst and guy who stopped walking after the first 500 miles because if she is 500 or more miles off on the address of her own house, he doesn't want to be the one knocking on her door, which is that's a lot of work there, hey? That's a lot of, I like the play.
Yeah.
Anytime
Any text that requires a flow chart is appreciated.
Proclaimers and Macramella stack, that'll get you to A&W. Yeah, exactly.
Come on. Where's the repeat?
Nasty chat.
There you go. Thanks, Trev.
I was telling Dusty too, their catalog is good. Like aside from that, it's like Chumbawamba. Everybody knows it for that.
No.
They have some great tunes.
In fact, I had that album, so I listened to that thing back in the day when you would buy an album and you would listen to it over and over and over and over again.
There's a touch. I like that. That's
right.
There's a touch of
a little harmonizing between twins.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Ugly
man.
guys. Just
no, they're not the best looking.
That is classic Scottish. Like that is good old Scottish ugly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Colton Hoppy says, need Will Dusty LT trio one day. It'll feed the masses of the 6 a.m. nasties. You did join us.
I did.
When we launched for a brief.
Dust doesn't like me around. That's the issue. That's why I only show up when Dustin's gone.
Do you show up when I'm gone? Nobody shows up. Probably
No,
it's just
they
Dustin.
don't bring you in. Yeah.
They don't fill any.
Dust-
there's no need to
Dustin
fill
finally
my.
has enough arm room in here. He's like, no, I'll
Single shot.
I'm gonna sit center and just bring it in on me on the one tight.
Daniel T asks, is Greg actually at 6:30 a.m.? Yes, that is not a lie. He'll be on here in a matter of minutes. It's a stack show once again. I think we have set a record, as Tripp pointed out earlier, for guests. Wyshynski 6:30, Gazdic 7:05, Wilkins 7:40, Boudreau 8:05, and Jeff Paterson 8:30. And we'll fit in some giggles and laughs. And I mean, I got beef at around 7:30. You got to get a beef. I'm sure you always have one of your editorials from the Stony Plain Examiner there.
Stony Plain Reporter.
Bruce
yeah,
Grove
that's it.
Come on. That's it. If you have any beefs, don't wait. Get them in now. 780-218-9999. Barry the Cheater says, Super Troopers. Exactly. You were there when they came into the Farva.
It was one of the, when I think back to, best days on this show, that's definitely, top 5.
We gave him a liter of cola.
Yeah.
Remember? He couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was
great.
fantastic. Yeah, we had Farva in.
Yeah. Comrade, good to see you. That comes in from Dwayne
Think
from
about
Tway.
that. We had Farva live in our studio.
Yeah, and the other guy.
Yeah, exactly. Rabbit.
That's the one. Yeah. He was the swinger, right? Was his wife?
No, that was the
what was his name?
The lead guy. Now you're gonna look them all up.
Yeah, Graham Greene.
It was Graham Greene.
Thorny.
That's
Yeah,
Ramathorn. Remember? Car Ramrod.
Yeah, Eric
Car Ramrod.
Eric Stolhansky was Rabbit, but Steve Lemmy was in.
Steve, that's right.
That's
it was
the guy.
Lemmy and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mac Trooper McKinty.
Yeah, you boys like Mexico.
McKinty Womack.
Yeah.
I forgot about Rabbit. That guy was nuts, eh? Thorny was the swinger, though. Okay, now we got all that taken care of. Got to have a rewatch of that. And another one Dusty hasn't seen is Club Dread.
Come on, Dustin. He's watched some movies 8,000 times, but other classics not even once.
I dropped the Penelope bit on him the other day.
Yeah,
He was just blown
over his head.
Yeah.
Which is weird because he's very tall, but sometimes things are just...
Let's get to a sports update here with YouTube Trev. On the way, as mentioned, and as promised, ESPN's Greg Wyshynski will join us at around 6:30. And fired up for Gemco Fireplaces on the way in the opening hour. It is the Nielson Show on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta. Wil Fraser, Lieutenant Eric. YouTube Trev here. Take it away, Trev.
CFL Week 4 gets started tonight. The 0-2 Elks hit the road to take on the 2-0 Blue Bombers, where they have lost their last 12 matchups against Winnipeg. Running back Brady Oliveira is expected to miss his second straight game. Kickoff for this one going at 6:30, where Dustin Nielsen has the call. A trade to announce in the NHL as J.J. Peterka has been traded to the Utah Mammoth. In return, Buffalo receives defenseman Michael Kesselring and forward Josh Doan. The NBA draft got underway last night, where Duke star Cooper Flagg does in fact go first overall, becoming the newest member of the Dallas Mavs, while the Raptors at 9th overall select Colin Murray Boyles from the University of South Carolina. Over to the majors, the Blue Jays lose to the Guardians last night. 5-4 is the score in Max Scherzer's return. The Jays cap off their 3-game series against the Guardians later today, first pitch going at 11:10. Closer to home, the series is now split as the Victoria Harbor Cats edge out the Riverhawks by the score of 6-4 last night. That series concludes later today. First pitch going at 6:30, and the Energy City Cactus Rats look to snap their 4-game losing streak when they take on the Swift Current 57s. That one getting started at 1:05. Round 1 of the Rocket Classic is underway, where Canadian Adam Hadwin is tied for first. He is 2 under through 6. I'm YouTube Trev. You're up to date.
How you like me now? How you like me now? How you like me now? How you like me now?
Hey, where'd you get that body from? Where'd you get that body from? Where'd you get that body from?
I got
Paterson down the left field line. Gone! There it is right there.
Daddy, got it.
Hey, where'd you get that body from?
I got it from my dad. Daddy, I got it from my dad.
6:33. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. going deep last night as the Jays fall in 10 to Cleveland 5-4. Your final, Lieutenant Eric, Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen and YouTube Trev. You heard there on the Sports Update. It is the Nielsen Show presented by Southport Chevrolet on Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta. I want to let you know as well those Play Alberta codes, and we'll have Dusty's early bird play of the day coming up in hour 2. But if you want to walk around the casino, the Play Alberta Casino, EST Casino, $20 deposit for a $50 casino code, and EST Sports, $20 deposit for a $50 free bet. So get on there today. EST Casino and EST Sports are your key words. Joining us right now, our first guest of the hundreds that we have on today's program, ESPN's Greg Wyshynski. You know him, you love him, and we appreciate his time working things around and joining us. Well, I guess out east it's still early, but earlier on in this show. Greg, lots of stuff to discuss. Where are you right now? You are attending, if I'm correct, an Islanders watch party, correct, for the draft?
That is correct. They found no reason for me to go to Los Angeles because none of the GMs are going to be there. So my time will be spent on Friday at the New York Islanders draft party, where they will undoubtedly take Matthew Schaefer first overall, and then we wait to see if they do the thing that many people have speculated they could do, which is to trade something to get another first-round pick to, as the bumper stickers say on Long Island, bring James Higgins home. But we'll see if that happens.
Decentralized draft, leaving us a little desensitized regarding the draft. If you were speaking to just a plain old hockey fan who's never watched any other draft, how would you kind of tee this thing up as to what we can expect, if anything?
I mean, it's not all that odd. It's how the NBA runs theirs. It's how the NFL runs theirs. I mean, everybody's going to have their own little war room, and hopefully the NHL has the technology to take us to the camera inside that war room, and then we see what's going on, and we'll see a bunch of people high-fiving when they take some obscure Latvian at 15th overall, and so that's how it works in other leagues, but it's not how it works in our league, and I can say without hesitation that I think this is going to be one and done. I think that everybody realizes the error of their ways. Gary Bettman has been steadfast in talking about how, you be careful what you wish for if you're the general managers with regard to this format. So I think we'll be back to normal, or as normal as it gets in the NHL next season, with everybody at their little tables in a giant arena, and reporters standing at a fence for hours on end to get 3 words with Steve Yzerman.
Speaking of back to normal, make sense of this JJ Peterka trade for me with the Buffalo Sabres, because I don't get it.
The Sabres are back to normal.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't understand how an organization can be this bad consistently.
Well, I'll defend him a little bit. I mean, first of all, if the freight on Peterka was going to be 7.7 over 5, that's pretty rich for the Sabres at this point. So I get that. If we are to kind of read between the lines of what Kevin Adams has said and what's been reported on Peterka for the last several months, he wanted to change his scenery. So that means you probably can't force him into arbitration. now you're going to have a pretty unhappy player in your room if that's the case. So there were some, forces pushing against the Sabres in this situation. I mean, if you want to look at it in aggregate, they got 2 roster players for Peterka. Doan is a good prospect who doesn't cost you much money and won't cost you much money next summer either. He's got upside. I don't know how much of it there is, but he's good and young. And then Kesselring's probably the real thing that you're looking for in this trade, which is a right shot top 4 defenseman that brings a lot of physicality to the proceedings, which is something the Sabres could use. So, I mean, it's not to say that I love the trade for them, but it is to say that I don't hate it with every fiber of my being as much as, say, trading a 4th round pick for the full freight of Evander Kane's contract. Like I would hate that more if I was a fan of that team than I would be getting Josh Doan and Kesselring back for Paterka.
We'll dive into that one then. I mean, it broke as we were kind of wrapping up our show yesterday morning by Evander Kane himself in true spirit and form from him. But yeah, I mean, full cash, nothing retained. You get the 4th, which was in play for the Podkolzin deal. I know, and we kind of talked about it too. And you did a good job of kind of taking us to the other side. There's always two sides to the coin, and Kane will be on a show me year now, and I mean Vancouver, whatever. But the fact that it's in division and you're not leaving the Oilers having to, I mean that's the win here. Warm body, whatever. But getting that cap space, that's the victory of the day. That's the big part of this deal, is it not?
Yeah, I mean that's part of it too. That probably one of the more underreported parts of it, to be honest with you, is the idea that you've helped out one of the big dogs in your division, like one of the teams you're trying to climb over to get back to the playoffs. And I don't know, man, like taking on the full freight of that contract for our 4th round pick, knowing who Evander Kane is and like trying to clean up the mess that was the toxicity in your locker room. And then you bring in Evander Kane. Listen, he's an accomplished offensive player. Who definitely has had his health concerns in recent years, but the Canucks know that they lack the things that he can give them: scoring on the wing and some truculence and an edge that they clearly lost when they traded JT Miller. And so the biggest swing here is hoping that Evander Kane can find a new level of maturity while playing in his hometown. And maybe that's the case. Who knows? It always seemed like he was pointing in this direction eventually, but to do so at that, I mean, I don't get it. I just don't understand why there wasn't like asking for a sweetener back if you're Vancouver.
Yeah, you also, and I feel this was maybe not discussed as much. Maybe I didn't see it, but the whole LTIR investigation, and that was kind of surrounding Kane. You had a tweet yesterday about it. It'll have no impact on the investigation. Is that just all we know at this point? Or like, when can we expect some sort of... Is this kind of just going to go on for decades and decades without any ruling or anything? Or where are we at here in terms of that timeline?
I don't think we'll be at the decades mark. I don't think we'll, it's the year is 2070. The Evander Kane LTIR ruling has not been resolved. Listen, they're looking into it. Whenever the NHL does this, you wonder how much of it is about the specific case and how much of it is trying to, scare teams to not do this until it's resolved in the CBA, and it will be resolved in the CBA. Everybody I've talked to about this agreement that could be announced by the end of the week is that there's going to be some sort of postseason salary cap in place. So the way it was explained to me is like you could carry $1 billion in salary as a team into the playoffs, but the people on the ice best fit under the cap is the way it's been explained to me. So I mean, that resolution's coming. So I don't know how much they have to use this as a scare tactic, but I will say that I did reach out to the league about whether, hey, bygones be bygones. He's no longer on the roster. They're still looking into it. The Oilers are pretty confident that they're buttoned up pretty well. Their I's are dotted, their T's are crossed on this thing. But if you remember the situation in Ottawa that ultimately led to their GM getting fired, Pierre Dorian, it was a thing where the player that in question, had been traded away, but they still went through with the punishment. So that's just how they operate, and it's ongoing, and that's all we know right now.
Treat me like the idiot that I am. What exactly are they looking for? Like, what could the Oilers have done wrong? Is it that they agreed with the player to stay on injured reserve? Like, is that what they're looking for? Is some sort of written agreement between player and organization? Because to say that you're being investigated for what specifically? Like, what are they trying to find?
I think, I mean, this is just speculation on my part, just kind of knowing the situation a little bit, but by no means is this me knowing exactly what the NHL is looking for. But I mean, I think they're probably looking to make sure that the second surgery he had in January was necessary and not just something that is being done to extend the timeline of him coming back. I think that they're probably looking at his rehab and how that was impacted and what that looked like going forward. I mean, I think they're just like, they're just looking into it to make sure that that there wasn't any skirting of the rules. I mean, I think the Oilers are going to be fine here, most likely. And there is a part of me that can't help but wonder if the player involved isn't why the NHL is so interested in this case. It's not like Evander Kane hasn't landed on their radar before. But yeah, that's as much as I can glean from it without having had a single conversation on or off the record with anybody explaining to me to a T what they're looking at.
Just to wrap, Greg, what do you got coming up at ESPN 4 this weekend? Obviously, draft tomorrow. I saw you and Kevin Weeks on a potential 84-game regular season. That means 2 less preseason games, right?
Yep, that does. We can report that it's most likely going to be in the next CBA that we have an 84-game season. Kevin and I worked together on that last night to break that. And, we had heard inklings of this for years. And I reported on it back in like 2022, I think it was, about the NHL talking internally about an 84-game season. Essentially, if you look at the way the schedule works now, there's an imbalance within divisional games where you will play some teams, I think, like 4 times, some teams like 3 times. And this would be a way to even all of those out. Obviously, the owners know that rivalry games, divisional games, they tend to bring in a little bit more revenue, a little bit more television attention. So it's a way to kind of like make the math work more than anything else. But obviously, it's also 2 more games of revenue. And I do wonder ultimately, when the players get a chance to look at the full CBA, where this is on their radar. Like, I've talked to some people that don't believe the players are going to be all that happy about 2 additional games of wear and tear on their bodies.
Yeah.
2 more games does not mean everybody's contract gets renegotiated. All of a sudden, make 2 more games worth of money. like there are reasons why you're not exactly thrilled with 84 games. But from a math standpoint, it makes sense. And look, I mean, we can all agree that this is going in the wrong direction, right? We want a shorter regular season probably, and some of us outside of Gary Bettman want a larger postseason. But this is where it's been heading, and obviously it's going to probably come to fruition in the next few days.
ESPN's Greg Wyshynski, we appreciate your time, man. Enjoy that draft party. We'll be thinking of you. Maybe we'll see us somewhere in the war room or some sort of snippet or clippet of you celebrating with a big old pizza pie in your hand. But enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the draft. Thanks for joining us and making the time.
Yeah, me and Matthew Darch slamming pizzas in the Islanders war room as I'm telling them, take all the NCAA guys. Go USA.
Love it. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care.
There you go. ESPN's Greg Wyshynski, moving a few things around. Usually a Wednesday guest in the 3rd hour. He joins us Thursday in the opening hour. One of our many guests on the show today, of course, Luke Gazdic, next, coming up at 7:05. Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric, YouTube Trev. Let's get into fired up right now for Gemco Fireplaces here. Gemco Fireplaces, proudly serving Edmonton and area for 45 years. They are the authorized dealer for Napoleon Fireplaces. Whether gas or wood burning, look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon Fireplaces. All the Napoleon products you need are available at Gemco, 9281 50th Street. I don't know if anything's getting you specifically fired up, Will, off the sports beater scene, but heading into the draft tomorrow and everything surrounding the Oilers right now has got me perked. As I mentioned, every forward has been mentioned or has been rumored or has been talked about. I don't know who they will end up landing on. But yeah, you brought up that you kind of miss the opposite days of chaos and
where everything was on the table because nothing was working.
Sure. This is a little more structured, a little more hamstrung, I guess you could say, with the money and the cap. They have to do the Bouchard deal. They'll do the Frederick deal. What those will look like will leave you with, fill in the blank there. Arvidsson will probably get shipped out. That's 4 right there. So whatever they do, you are expecting probably at least one more trade here over the next little while. The goaltending situation is one that I find, again, you can go over a laundry list of names.
The soap opera fan in me wants to see them make an RFA offer on St. Louis's backup goaltender, right?
You heard Armstrong's words, though, hey?
I don't...
You try it. You just try it.
Well, but if you look at compensation levels, much like the St. Louis Blues did, where it's kind of like, well, we can offer like $5 million and only have to give up a 2nd-round pick. So let's do that. Right. So, yeah, I'd love to see the Oilers do it. Even if it just means that St. Louis has to pay their backup $5 million.
Well, I'm here for that fume.
Right.
mean, Dusty was saying too that maybe it was a bit of a pride thing that Hall like, well, fine, like, you know, it's kind of one of those things, and then you see what happened with it. So maybe this is a way to get back. I love the wrestling style. Sure, why not? That's what this sport needs a lot more. Is that we complained for so long that there were no offer sheets. Right, Tide always wanted one. He low Tide with, and then you finally get to, albeit against the Oilers of all teams. So you can't really laugh too
Although
hard.
with the way that Stan Bowman seems to be working in the Oilers, they'll just phone up the Vancouver Canucks to do it.
I like how,
hey, Vancouver, we want you to get even with St. Louis for us.
Abbotsford is Vancouver's farm team. Vancouver is Edmonton's farm team. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wait till they hire Manny Malhotra to replace Glenn Gulletson there, eh? But that's I like that type of vindictiveness between why not? It makes for a soap opera, as you said.
Absolutely.
So I'm fired up for all the things that could happen. But if that stuff happens, I will be fired up through the ceiling here.
The Oiler fan base, and I think Oilers management and probably the team, I think everyone is on board with the idea that they need to at least attempt to upgrade their goaltending. And so this is not only that, an attempt, but it's also delicious. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, that's two birds, one stone, man.
I'm here for the rivalry. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Twist the knife.
Give it to me. Twist the knife. 780-218-9999. What are you fired up about that or something else? Trev, you're obviously you're fired up about the Oilers offseason. Obviously, you're fired up about everything that can transpire over the weekend leading into free agency. Is there a particular forward name that has been thrown out there into the realm of the online that fires you up?
Any forwards out there?
Anthony Mantha.
Michelli. Who was it that brought up? I think it was Gager yesterday. I forget. I heard Mantha. No, definitely not interested in that one. It's going to be interesting. Kind of like last year, I really had no idea what the Oilers were going to do come free agent frenzy. This year, it's the same thing. I don't really know who they're looking for. But the day it's going to happen, you know, whether it is July 1, Leon Draisaitl's winger. I would just.
Who do you want?
It would be so
do you have
refreshing.
a dream acquisition for you?
I mean, I got a dream acquisition. It's not. It's a dream. It's
not
a
really.
Dream.
Well,
yeah, it's. I don't know. Like if you're looking at any of the big fish right now, Nikolai Ehlers or Mitch Marner, obviously that would be amazing. Dusty and I, after the show yesterday, Dusty was like, "Could you imagine?" And I was just like, "Tell me more." Yeah, I was drooling. I'm like, "Wait, is it going to happen?" He's like, "No, it's probably not going to happen." I'm like, you know. So I'm very extremely optimistic. But I've grown up. This was like the off season. I mean, that's what as being an Oilers fan, that's what I had to look forward to. The draft, July 1. Who are the Oilers going to sign? Kind of like you miss those days. So do I. Like it was always fun. Like the Oilers being able to afford quite a bit of the players, whether or not they'd come here or not. But I love that aspect of it. So
now we just have to have a competent, competitive hockey team.
Yeah,
boring.
It's different, right? Yeah. So fired up about that. Can't wait. It's going to be awesome. I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen. But also, just a side note, fired up about the EST Golf Classic because we did just get our shirts yesterday.
You got your shirt already?
Yeah, you left.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I asked Matty Ford. He said, "Oh, I'll have to get that to you soon."
I thought the rules was no shirts.
Oh,
it will be.
Tarps off
at the turn.
At the turn, yeah.
I remember seeing Dusty last year go to, I forget what hole it was, but he was shirtless. The whole crew was shirtless, his group, and they were taking shots.
That's a lot of flesh.
Oh, it was.
I don't need to see that.
It was nice. It was beautiful, actually.
A lot of white.
Yeah, it's a lot of pasty skin.
Yeah.
EST Golf Tournament, July 8 out at the ranch.
So fired up about that.
If you haven't got in, joke's on you. Let's just check out. I looked at the 13-day forecast yesterday.
Got a new team this year. So
you have a new team.
I don't think I can say my team yet, but Wolf is listening.
Why not?
I don't know. Can I?
Well, I don't know. I
don't know.
Do you guys have
I feel like it's a man. I don't know.
Is it a surprise?
Maddie hasn't made it public yet, so maybe.
Look at this.
But I do have a new team this year.
Yesterday was 24 degrees with a humidex of 27. Today, the outlook for Tuesday, July 8th, 26 with a humidex of 31. Oh, that's not going to get sloppy at all.
That's going to be perfect.
Hey?
Yeah.
Wind 8K. Whew.
Couldn't ask for a better day last year. That was beautiful. If it's anything like that.
Too hot.
Think it was a little too hot? I mean, you were in a full suit.
Painters, yeah, but that's breathable. But it was a scorcher last year. I don't mind the 24. I'll take that.
Yeah.
The humidity will be putting it up there. July 8th, out at the ranch, EST Golf Classic. Will, I know you were fired up about the NBA draft.
I was?
Yes. No, you were fired up about SGA winning the MVP.
Yeah. So this is my take on the NBA draft. Like Cooper Flag, he's gone. And this is my curiosity. Who was the last number one overall? Like, here's the example. Connor McDavid has gone to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. Who was the last first overall NBA star to actually deliver on his promise?
I jokingly said Greg Oden, and we had a laugh, but...
Right?
Yeah.
Like, is it... I mean, Kevin Garnett did go to NBA Finals, but it wasn't with the team who drafted him. Like, who was the last guy who went first overall who then took that franchise to the promised land? I can't. Which is why.
Stumped me.
Which is why, like the whole sort of like we need to tank to get the Cooper Flag. Fill in the blank. Zion Williams, whatever. It doesn't seem to pay off. And then these guys that are taken a little bit deeper, the SGAs, they're the best player in the NBA. They're the best basketball player in the world, and they got traded. They didn't get taken first overall, and they get traded. Like, basketball just seems to be one of those sports that, first of all, you don't know what you've got. You honestly don't know at the draft what you actually have. And 4 years in, you probably still don't know what you actually have. Like, it seems to me that basketball players add more and more dimensions to their game for like a solid 9 years. Like the run out time on time you get drafted to time you actually become the player you're going to be is very long.
So I find the Durant deal fascinating because, yes, Durant helps the Rockets now, which is fine.
Right.
But I do wonder what the Suns acquire with some of those draft, albeit second rounders. But I just there's got to they'll find some sort of diamond in the rough there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then we'll be talking about him in 10 years, and we'll say, "Oh, remember the Kevin Durant? Oh, yeah, that's how they got him." And people will snicker and sneer and laugh, but it's like the Rockets help themselves out now. The Suns will probably help themselves out
you
later.
Know what?
With that.
You make an interesting point. Like there has to be that combination of competent team with competent player as well, right? So maybe Victor Wembanyama will be that guy.
Yeah.
Time will tell, but San Antonio strikes me as the type of organization that understands that it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't rush this process, and this process takes years to achieve its desired outcome.
Much like NHL goaltending, I guess you could say.
Much like NHL goaltending.
Hampton Steve in the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. I'd target Patrick Kane for the top 6 and Nick Bjugstad for the bottom 6. Hashtag fired up. I know Bjugstad's cheap. I know when they had him here the first run around.
What's not to like? Except for the fact that he's very old.
Yeah, I know. That was then. This is now. I think that Kane's ship is not really. I mean, I again, you can say whatever you want. There's no wrong answer. That's interesting. I don't mind. I didn't mind Bjugstad before. I don't know about now. I know it wouldn't be expensive, and I know he'd do a thing. Did he not want to? Did he want to go back to the States? Or
he wanted to go back to Arizona.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Like, he had a home. He enjoyed.
But I think he enjoyed playing here as well. Like, he kind of
being on a competitive team is really nice after being in Arizona. But now that it's Utah, it may be a different story.
Justin of Belgoni says,
have you ever been to Salt Lake?
Not yet.
This is no shade at Edmonton, but Edmonton feels like Las Vegas if you've ever been to Salt Lake.
I can understand. I did watch SLC Punk back in the day, that movie. And it doesn't do a good job of advertising the city.
Sure.
Yeah. The last pick would be LeBron. Justin of Belgoni says maybe Anthony Davis too, to your...
But even LeBron had to go away before he came back and delivered.
The prodigal son. Yeah, he did the whole trip thing. Don't love the association, doesn't sign text guy, he says. How about the reaction of the Raptor pick, though? Arrogance? Look, I watched Cooper Flag, and that was it. I didn't go well beyond.
He had some sort of guttural response, and he explained it as sort of relief. Some people without audio saw it as frustration.
Yeah, and you can. I'm looking at the body language now, not listening to it. Shake of the head, buttoning up the coat, the F word, with a bit of a smile on his face.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think people dream, and it's much like the CFL. Guys in the Deep South don't dream of hoisting the Grey Cup. I get that. Same as guys in the States don't dream of growing up and playing for the Toronto Raptors, but you are playing pro ball at the end of the day.
So he explained it as the Raptors worked him out first.
Yeah.
And the Raptors had said that we're very interested in you. And then basically his family, his agent were all kind of like, that's just talk. It could be basically saying it could be a long night. Like, don't expect to go top 10 because the difference in money that you make is really pretty significant. So
he wasn't. This was an F-bomb by surprise, and
or more kind of like, okay, now I
can't believe it.
Like, you're white knuckling the chair, and then that sort of relief of being like, okay, I went top 10.
I can see how you could take it either way, though. Yeah. In seeing this video,
yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Colin Murray Boyles, the forward, South Carolina.
The most famous was old Steve Francis when he got drafted by the Grizzlies, and that was legitimate. I can't believe I'm going to Timbuktu.
The Raptors have a championship under their belt. I mean, they're kind of, what you got the Drake.
That's what this kid expressed was like, no, this is a solid NBA franchise.
Yeah, they've grown. They've been like, but at the time, the Grizzlies, I mean, the uniforms, the new kid on the blockness of it all.
And they were a mess.
Yeah. I
understand. Had no idea what they were doing.
You understand Francis's reaction there, but... Penner's Pancakes, Alex Tuck. That's who he wants. I think Tommy was mentioning that he was a little hard on him yesterday in the hangout too. Tuck would be great. That would be cool if we drafted Horkoff's son. Jared flies into the nasty chat. What are you boys hearing this morning? Any other trade rumors? Jason Luke. As I said, the trade mill could power a small town right now. That's the rumor. It is going around and around and around. Michelli, Mantha, Tuck, you can throw him into the mix. Anyone and everyone who plays a forward in the NHL and is at probably a decent price point. I mean, I know the Marner swing. I said it, Trev. I told you. Future Oiler Mitch Marner. I mentioned it during Four Nations.
You did
Thought
say
at the
that.
time something might be there. Probably not. I know Ken Holland spoke yesterday that he's going big ripe banana hunting in free agency. He's going to have some walking around money to spend. He wants to bring in a big splash.
Well, it's interesting because by all accounts, the Oilers were right up there with the Dallas Stars to try to at least acquire Mikko Rantanen at the deadline.
Yeah.
Like they were trying hard.
Yeah.
And according to several people in the media, they were really, really close. So it's like if you were close to getting Rantanen, and you could probably make Marner work. No, like I'm just I don't know how that works.
So, like Mitch Marner's gonna go and get paid.
Oh yeah,
right. If he can't play for the team that he loves more than life itself, which is the Toronto Maple Leafs, he's gonna want money. The only exception to that might be a chance to play with Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Right? They combined for the biggest goal of the season last year.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. It's just I just don't believe that this guy's not going to take as much money as possible if he can't play for the Leafs.
For sure.
Which is why I've been advocating for months now. You re-sign Marner if you're Toronto, and you trade the big guy.
We discussed this when you were on last.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be the
because
I agree with that.
the Toronto Maple Leafs have excelled without the kid with the nose.
Matthews.
Yeah, Matthews. They've excelled without him in the lineup.
The kid with the nose. Ehlers was another name that you mentioned. I think the Carolina Hurricanes are the
That
rumored.
makes sense.
Rumored.
He's
rumored.
a Band-Aid. The Oilers just had, for the second straight year, their Stanley Cup dreams derailed because of injury. They don't need more injury-prone players.
Yeah.
Where do you want them to go forward? Chime in 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat. We'll get to Luke Gazdic here after a sports update for Expedia Cruises. Trev's got more on that and our big trip coming up in late February. Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric, and YouTube Chevrolet here with your update. Luke Gazdic on the way just after the top of the hour here on the Nielsen Show on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta.
CFL Week 4 gets started tonight. The 0-2 Elks hit the road to take on the 2-0 Blue Bombers, where they have lost their last 12 matchups against Winnipeg. Running back Brady Oliveira is expected to miss his second straight game. Kickoff for this one going at 6:30, where Dustin Nielsen has the call. A trade to announce in the NHL as JJ Paterka has been traded to the Utah Mammoth. In return, Buffalo receives defenseman Michael Kesselring and forward Josh Doan. The NBA draft got underway last night, where Duke star Cooper Flagg does in fact go first overall, becoming the newest member of the Dallas Mavs, while the Raptors at 9th overall select Colin Murray Boyles from the University of South Carolina. Over to the majors, the Blue Jays lost to the Guardians last night. 5-4 is the score in Max Scherzer's return. The Jays cap off their 3-game series against the Guardians later today, first pitch going at 11:10. Closer to home, the series is now split as the Victoria Harbor Cats edge out the Riverhawks by the score of 6-4 last night. That series concludes later today, first pitch going at 6:30. The Energy City Cactus Rats look to snap their 4-game losing streak when they take on the Swift Current 57s. This one going at 1:05. And round 1 of the Rocket Classic is underway, where Canadian Adam Hadwin has dropped to 5th. He is now 2 under through 9. And Minwoo Lee is atop of the leaderboard. He is 3 under through 6. I'm YouTube Trev. You're up to date.
Let's get crazy. Let's bring in a coach who, in his first press conference, it was clear, had never seen the team play.
I saw it in his eyes.
Like, had not looked at any tape.
Swarm.
Had not looked at, had no idea of the players that he had just been hired to coach.
The Hungry Eyes remix.
That was
one of the absolute bangers here on the Nielsen Show, presented by Southport Chevrolet.
Now this team's got some knob-block guy.
And they're
all
winning.
he does is stay cool and calm and collected.
No sound bites at all to work with.
Make, on the whole, the right call most of the time.
Yeah, but from a producer's role, I mean, it's just that you're not giving me anything.
For
here.
this, for what we're doing here,
that was a gold mine.
It was so good.
Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen today. He's got the call, obviously, tonight, as Trev mentioned. Winnipeg, Bombers and Elks kicking off Week 4 in the CFL. Well, let you know as well, that sports update was presented by Expedia Cruises. Whether you're dreaming of crystal clear waters or exotic destinations, contact Chelsea LaBelle at Expedia Cruises in Northeast Edmonton to start planning your next cruise or vacation destination. You can reach her at 780-970-4834. Once again, Dusty and I and a bunch of you are heading to Mexico in February. The date is February 2 till March 1. $2,490 for direct flight transfers, 1 check bag, food, booze. It's the all-inclusive plan. Planet Hollywood Cancun. And once again, if you want to join us on that trip, February 22nd, March 1st, the number to call, 780-970-4834. And you can ask to speak with Chelsea. She is a nasty like you. She'll be joining us on the trip. Should be a great time. Luke Gazdic will be joining us now. As mentioned, it's a business-like show. Not a lot of time for fooling around today. Luke Gazdic, brought to you by ProAm Sports. This will be his final appearance of the season. So we thank him for that. Get in. I know people love watching Luke on the YouTube especially. So if you need a little dose of Luke Gazdic before your summer months, get in now if you are listening on the iHeart TuneIn radio app. Gazdic brought to you by ProAm Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. Let ProAm help you with your team fundraiser with no-risk auction and raffle items. Visit the men's store for all the details. Located in Edmonton, St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave, or online at proamsports.ca. And we'll bring in Sportsnet's Luke Gazdic right now. Luke, great to see you, man. Thanks again for taking the time and the season that it was. Of course, course, this is the last hurrah, so we'll do our goodbyes near the end. But kicking things off, our show ended yesterday with the Kane deal. No retention. I think that's the big thing in this. Where do you come out on that whole deal from I guess, both sides, both the Canucks and the Oilers, obviously shipping Kane off and no money retained and a fourth?
Good riddance, honestly. I was a fan of Evander for a time, to be honest. He really rubbed me the wrong way in the Stanley Cup Finals, I think. Some of the actions and the extracurricular stuff, and I mean, he was trying to play a good role, but the penalties were a little much. And I just think it's time, it's a good time for the team to move on. They need to get some cap space to move forward and get this team going in the right direction. So I guess now I was just about to say now he's Vancouver's problem. I don't think he's a problem. I just think, at a certain time, the relationship between the team and the player is done. And it feels like that way for Evander. Now it's time for them to go out, and I don't know what they're going to do. I was listening to you guys earlier about scoring wingers for Leon, and I'm not sure what they're going to do, but shedding $4 or $5 million certainly helps that.
Yeah, and that helps. And I think with Kane, too, you kind of mentioned that's kind of followed his career where, the expiration date kind of comes quick. It's good at first, and I think, again, the unicorn that he is, but you're bang on with, almost a bit of a liability in the final, really, as opposed to what you wanted from him. And I thought it was ceremoniously when he get the misconduct and leaving Game 6 and going down the tunnel. I mean, that kind of signed off to me that it was the end. And going back to the forward group and seeing what they have, I mean, they still, again, no money retained. You got to get the Bouch deal. The Frederick deal still needs to come. We're expecting an Arvidsson shoe trade to drop here any time. But do you have kind of a short list or a wish list, if you will, of who they might bring in or who you could identify that would fit with this group, and specifically Leon?
It's a great question. I think the guy that is kind of wishful thinking not going to happen is probably Ehlers. Like, I see Ehlers and Leon together would be an absolute force. I think the speed that he would bring into that second line would be unbelievable. I do think they should work on getting Connor Brown re-signed and done. I don't know how much he's looking for or how much he's asking, but internally, I think that's a guy that they need back in the room. And part of that, outside of that, man, like, you're looking at guys like Granlund, and it's funny now because now that I'm looking down, and this is what I guarantee you every GM in the league is doing, like, as I'm looking down going, does this guy make sense? Does this guy make sense? The question isn't, doesn't this guy make sense for your lineup? Is it, does this guy help us beat the Florida Panthers?
Yeah.
Does this guy help us beat Florida, or does he hurt us? Like, and so I'm going through every guy and I'm like, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. And the other one that I landed on was Granlund, but I just, in the long run, it's like, I am very much on the page of, I think you're going to see a round 3 of the Stanley Cup final. I said it after the first one. I'm like, I bet you these two teams, we're going to be right back here in Moss Pit next year. And there we were. And I truly believe, like, if either of these teams, if there's not a lot of sag from either teams throughout the regular season, I just think we're headed for a 3-time collision course here. So whoever you're going out to sign and whoever you're going out to trade for, that's why, like, I'm going to kind of go all over the place here, but like, even in net, like, we're talking about Joel Hofer and like RFA, or like offer sheeting and RFA, like Joel Hofer, or bringing in a guy like Devin Levi. Do we really want to bring in a guy that doesn't have the experience at that stage or at that level, that a guy that's barely played any playoff hockey, like, has been through a run, but like, I know not a lot of goalies out there have that. And then you're looking at the Jake Allens, and I don't even know if John Gibson does that for you. So it's really tough for me looking at this right now as I approach free agency for Sportsnet in 5 days, and having to kind of shore up some of these details. It's like, everything Edmonton should be doing from this point moving forward should be to help them beat the Florida Panthers, because that is the eventual opponent for the foreseeable future.
Is that something you do in the offseason, though? I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If you look at the moves that they made in last year's offseason, very few of them paid off. However, all the moves that they made in season seem to have a positive impact. The exception being Vasily Podkolzin, who I think was a surprise for this organization. But outside of that one sort of, let's call it a minor sort of move, nothing really seemed to work as far as what they did in the offseason.
Yeah, it's a great point too. You don't win the Western Conference, you don't win a Stanley Cup in the summer. The biggest example of that for me is I'm learning a lot on TV doing this. Like I got on last year after Nashville signed Brady Shea and Steven Stamkos in March or so, and I'm like, this team's going to win the Central. Like this power play is going to be top 3 in hockey. Like what are we talking about here?
You are not alone.
Oh,
I know, and it's just like, you know what? Colby was beside me, and I'll give Colby credit. And Justin Bourne was in with us too. And Bourney was the big one that was like 3 guys on the end of their, like the end of contracts of their career. Are you kidding me? So like, I didn't foresee that one, but you're completely right. Like you don't win or lose anything in the summer. I think they took a shot on 3 guys. I really like Jeff Skinner as a guy. I never loved that signing just because you're looking at a team that needs to get over the hump in the playoffs. So we sign a guy who has never played in the playoffs. Right. Like that was just one for me. That Arvidsson was the one that I was really disappointed not working out, because that was one where I was like, this guy and Leon are going to be clicking. You have a little dog like Hyman. So you're right. It's not one in the summer, but they really do have a couple chances and probably a couple swipes at guys that are going to help a lot down the line here. So interesting to see which way they go. I'm just as curious as you guys are.
And perhaps maybe that's the route you do take with goaltending. I know that this fan base is kind of, they've had enough and they need a change for change's sake. That's what we keep hearing. But you roll into the season with Skinner, Pickard again, see what kind of comes up, and maybe, just maybe, that acquisition is made based on performance and a little later down the line during the season. Would you have time for that? Like, is that a need that you need addressed here in the offseason for you?
I just don't think people should be surprised if the Edmonton Oilers game 1 next year have Skinner and Pickard in their net.
Yeah.
I don't think that should come as a surprise to people. And I'm not saying that's because I want it or because I think that's what they should do. They're just going to have to get super creative. Like the goaltending market is super thin out there. There are sub 10 goaltenders in the NHL that you can trust on a nightly basis. And you need a guy that you can trust on a daily basis to win you a Stanley Cup. Like we're not talking about Jake Allen here. And this is no offense to any of these guys. It's just like James Reimer. Like, what are we talking about here? Are we really going to go after John Gibson, who's been in Anaheim for his whole career, has struggled with lower body injury stuff for his entire career? He's not Canadian. That like is not a selling point for him coming up to Canada. Like you're coming back home where he played or anything like that. So it's going to have to get a little tricky and a little interesting for them to make something happen. Like I'm huge on the Hofer. I think the Hofer thing is just like a hilarious situation that could end up happening. And I really do think he's a hell of a young goaltender, but like, are you going to put all your eggs in one basket on a young goaltender who is unproven? And maybe, is he in the long run, is he better than Stu? It's just, this is the stuff that I'm sure they're going through as well, but I just wouldn't be surprised if you're back there game 1 with the same guys. I really, the more that I look at it and the more that I think about it, I'm not sure what they're going to do.
Are we also are we programmed because of the hockey we all grew up with to think that the goaltending position is more stable than it really is league wide? Like it used to be that you could name 12 goaltenders that on any given night could steal a game for their team. And I just don't feel like that's the case anymore. I mean, we saw the Dallas Stars flame out of the playoffs with them blaming Jake Ottinger for it, right? So it's not like the Oilers are sitting alone with questions in between the pipes. It seems like every team out there, aside from maybe 3, isn't exactly sold on their goaltending.
100%. I say this all the time. This goaltender position is the hardest in sports probably. And it's just such a unique position. It was a big proponent in me. I don't have a vote, but I really thought that Dustin Wolf should have won the Calder Trophy this year because I don't think people understand how much he accomplished at such a young age and such a tough league.
He is screwing over that team, by the way.
I know he, you know what? And I like, you know what? Those boys worked really hard this year, but he made them look a lot better than they were. So I'll tell you that. But you're right. And then you have guys like Connor Hellebuck, who it's like unstoppable in the regular season. And then when the playoffs come, it's like a different goaltender. Right. So now you got to find a guy that's a playoff contender. There are, like I said, maybe sub 5 guys in the league that I would trust in there on a nightly basis. And you can name them on the back of your hand, man. 3 of them are Russian. Yeah. One just won 2 Stanley Cups in a row. And it's just a very tough position to find consistency. And I will say, if this is a devil's advocate question, I am watching the tandem, the 1A, 1B style in Toronto here, up close and personal with Joe Wall and Anthony Stolars. I don't like that either. I know it's like it's a wish, but if you're a player, to have a singular goalie in your dressing room that you look around, I say this a lot on TV, but when you're tying up your skates and you look around the room and you look at your starting goaltender and you know he's going to give you a chance to win every night, that is a feeling you cannot replicate. It is unbelievable. Or after a first, when you come in and you look over and your goalie's silent, you know, because he's in the zone, you're just like, boys, we score 2 or 3 tonight, we're good. That's an unbelievable feeling. And I just hope the Oilers can get there someday, because I honestly think there's multiple. Well, you guys know this. There probably would have already been multiple cups if there was maybe a little more stable goaltending. So we'll see.
Sportsnet's Luke Gazdic with us. Just a few more points here, Luke, before we let you go here. I think Connor Brown too was looking at term. I think that was something that he was hoping for to get. I don't know if that affects your mood in bringing him back.
Yeah, and he should too. He should.
Oh, absolutely.
He's that age. He's earned it. I just don't know. I know they were talking about the Duchesne one, 4x4, looking for that kind of term. If it's on the right number, we'll see. But sorry to cut you off.
But Evan Bouchard, speaking of term as well, a few, I guess, snippets out there that a 4-year deal might be around the bend. What are your thoughts, I guess, on that and in terms of the term for Bouchard, and how you kind of see this deal materializing here for the Oilers in his camp?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, he's getting paid.
Yes.
He's getting paid, and he's going to be an Oiler for a long time, and he should be. And you know what? It's funny because I don't call myself an insider at all. I just hear a lot. Like I'm in hockey circles a lot. So whenever I tell you guys, it's just stuff from hanging out with people. You guys know this number's above 10. It's probably closer to 11. It's a lot of money, and I think he deserves it. No, I don't think he deserves it. He deserves it. But that's where the juggling is going to have to start to come after this happens. Leon goes up this year. Nursey's already, you have 21 between 2D now, 22 between 2D. That's not an ideal situation to have. So they'll get him done. I don't think there's going to be any problem in getting this done, and it's going to be a big one, boys. It's probably going to be 8x11, 8x10.5, something like that. So we'll see it materialize. I think they want to get it done before the draft, but they're running out of time, so we'll see. Yeah, not enough time in this. When you make it to Game 6 of the Cup final, we were talking. Usually the off seasons were, half a year long for us in covering this team, but I was part of them. I was part of them where we signed like 6 guys. We're like, oh, this is the year. We signed Benoit Pouliot and frickin' Teddy Firstall. I love you two boys. Sorry.
I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one.
Keaton for you.
If, because of what happened last offseason, if take your pick. If a Utah comes in and pays an Evan Bouchard $13 million over 7 years, and you have the ability to let him walk and get 4 straight first overall draft picks, do you do that?
Yeah, I think you let him walk, and then you go sign Aaron Ekblad, trying to find a getaway and try and maybe scoop Noah Dobson out of the island or something like that. I just think that's so interesting too. I can't wait for this summer. Some stuff happens
because 4 first overall draft picks that's actually a decent return
for this cupboard as well.
I know, and it's not even like you're going to use those picks, but you could flip those picks instantly for something that's going to help your team right away. I'm a huge Aaron Ekblad guy, and I understand that's not the greatest thing to say after beating the team that obviously you guys were talking about here 2 years in a row. I just think he would be so good for that decor. he really impressed me in the way I analyzed the game and the way he defended Connor and Leon and these guys. I just know that it's not really in the cards with how much money they have. So
should be interesting. Thanks for sharing your time and your thoughts today and this season, Luke. We appreciate it. It's too bad Dusty's not here to give you a goodbye.
Yeah, I do have something that, you guys had like a segment earlier getting fired up.
Yeah,
like
fired up for Gemco Fireplaces. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here in Toronto. I am a big Raptors guy. I love basketball, and I'm a big Raptors guy here. So you see the kid from South Carolina got drafted last night, and on TV, he verbally drops the F-bomb. Not happy, obviously, to get drafted north of the border. We are raising a generation of entitled brats. Can you imagine getting drafted to the best league in the world and being upset about that? Can I imagine being on the draft floor at the NHL draft and Utah drafting me and dropping an F-bomb on live TV because I was mad that Utah drafted me to the best league in the world? Now it's not even good enough to get drafted. It's getting drafted to the spot that you have to get drafted to, or you're not going to a certain team. It grinds my gears to the max, especially when it's Toronto, because I know how cool this place is and this city is. I absolutely love it here. It's my hometown. So I love seeing players not want to come up here. It's great. And I just think players should be a little more grateful for getting drafted the best.
Flip side of that, can you imagine if they had a camera on me all the time, how many shots of fingers up my nose they'd have? Just on the highlight reel, nonstop.
Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Not happy about that. But I just wanted to say too, I know I talked to Reid as well, but I wish Dusty was here, but it was a blast talking to you guys all year.
Yeah.
I truly enjoy you guys. Are really the only weekly and bi-weekly hit I have left that I do away from Sportsnet, and that's for a reason. So thanks for having me on, and people of Edmonton make me feel really cool and special. So
well, anytime you want to pop on, you know the number, and we'd be glad to have you. People love you. You're a hit on the show, especially the visual, Luke. Enjoy your summer, and thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, boys.
Love it.
Hey, Luke.
Sportsnet's Luke Gazdic, and former Oiler. Always got a good story or two to share. As he said, not an insider, but a great analyst.
Yeah, he's more of a hockey peeping Tom.
Yeah,
I'm not on the inside,
hanging around the grapevine.
I am. Yeah. I'm in the tree outside the window.
Yeah. Just like the person spotting Connor McDavid at Yorkdale Mall or whatever it was the other day.
Yeah.
Hey, isn't that something? Hey, imagine
I was thinking more George McFly.
Well, yeah, but a high-profile athlete in public, and somebody takes a picture of him. I mean, that's okay, right? We do that here too. There's no problem. You don't have a problem with it, do you?
Just creeping on people?
Well, it's not like he's getting his picture taken by two weird people at an airport. Older people. Shorter, older people. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Whatever. People get... This whole McDavid thing too. And we had the Camp David Summit with Bowman, Jackson, McDavid out in Ontario, right?
Yeah,
They all met up. Mm-hmm. And
I heard that was just for wakeboarding.
Well, that's, how we do it. We're like the real reasons they went to visit him.
Yeah.
And we said that they'd show up in tuxedos with a PowerPoint, and kind of,
Yeah. No, I heard it was Bowman said, I've never been able to get up on a wakeboard.
Yeah.
And McDavid was like, well, come on out to the lake. I'll show you.
I've never caught a muskie. Isn't that what they are?
Caught a muskie.
Is that what they do up there?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, the old Muskokas. Yeah. You betcha.
Yeah, the cottage. This is what I think they call it out there. Yeah. So
I had some real sicko once tell me they use like live kittens as bait.
Okay.
Like just drag those behind the old trawling boat.
Well, a little chum for you. Yeah. Reid Wilkins will be joining us later. We'll get his thoughts on that and more at around 7:40. 7:30 is all I got beef. Right now, though, it's time for Dustin Nielsen's Play Alberta Early Bird Special. PlayAlberta.ca is where you can go. They are the presenting sponsor of Edmonton Sports Talk and the golf tournament as well. July 8th out at the ranch. Play Alberta all around. You know them, you love them, you want to play with them. All the money played with stays right here in the province. And those codes, once again, if you want to peruse the Play Alberta Casino, EST Casino, $20 deposit for a $50 casino code. That runs through the month of June here, so get on it while it lasts. EST Sports, $20 deposit for a $50 free bet, and maybe you want to use that tonight here with Dusty's Early Bird. PlayAlberta.ca, click on the sports tab at the top. On the left, EST Specials. It'll bring you right there. The Early Bird, bet of the day, courtesy Dustin Nielsen. A Bombers win.
Okay.
And the Lions in Regina Saturday night, plus the 6.5 points. That's boosted plus 116 right now. So Bombers win tonight. Lions plus 6.5 Saturday at plus 116.
So just a straight up win, not covering.
Nope, just a win. Jay and Matt's big play of the game. This is what I was talking about here. They had, I think, yesterday or the day before, the Elks at plus 10.5. So to cover that 10.5
spread.
You know, I don't mind the way they've been playing football. The only problem with them is, and we've talked, in a 9-team league, there's not a lot of places to hide, and there's no easy free spaces on the bingo card this year. And out of the gate, you play Nathan Rourke and the Lions at the Snoop Dogg Bowl, which was a packed house. The Lions had a lot to prove that game. Then you play probably the Grey Cup favorites right now in the Montreal Alouettes, led by Davis Alexander, a great defense and explosive offense. And you put up some points in them, albeit in garbage time. But I think you had a good start to the game against BC. You had a not-so-good start against Montreal. You turned things on in garbage time, albeit, but didn't let your heads down. I think we've seen in Chris Jones' team, this team just kind of totally collapse and not give a shit, really, at times. This is different, but it's also new. And the preaching of patience, I know, is an old refrain with this fan base, but it's a new HC, it's a new OC, it's a new DC, it's a new QB.
Yeah, I think the start has been a massive disappointment until you ask yourself, what did you expect?
I'm just saying the
right, like when all the changes happened and you looked at that schedule.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you expected, but you're still disappointed by it, which is
that's fine.
It's a weird place to be as a fan.
Yes.
Right?
And I think now you can also point to, well, I see a bit of a light down.
Yeah.
Like you can, before you couldn't. I mean, we're trying to get jacked about Taylor Cornelius.
Well,
we're trying to get jacked about Chris Jones.
Just want to be surprised.
Yeah. Well,
right now, they're not surprised, and that's the problem.
Just win, baby. And I think you have a guy like Cody Fajardo right now, and I'm not calling for any quarterback controversy or anything.
Yeah.
I think you need to give Trey Ford some time, albeit that's what they don't have. And if you want to win, you're going to have to figure that out. So I think when you're looking at a free space on the bingo card, they might be looking at themselves in the mirror and being, oh, it's us. You know, because I think every team in the CFL right now, the parity is great, and all legitimately could take a run at something this season. But much like as we were talking about with the Nashville Predators, scrap heaping in CFL free agency is very fun for us to talk about, but doesn't always necessarily translate to success. It's not a 2 and 2 is 4 equation.
Sure.
And especially with all the new faces on the coaching staff. So, getting back to it, Jay and Matt's big play of the game. Elks plus 10.5. They got Rankin 50 plus rushing yards. Elks defense to get an interception or fumble. And Elks to score more points in the second half versus the first. That's boosted to plus 1,800. But we are here for Dusty's early bird bet. Bombers win tonight. Lions plus 6.5 Saturday against the Riders. That's plus 116 at playalberta.ca. Let's get to a sports update right now for our good friends at Park Mazda. Mitch Lewicki, who you know all
beautiful man,
isn't he? Just gorgeous
beautiful.
Looking. If you want to get a little a snapshot of old Mitch Lewicki, head down to Park Mazda, Sherwood Park right now, or check them out online, parkmazda.ca. Trev's got more on that coming up in the sports update. Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric as well. Coming up, I got beef for Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. If you have beef, 780-218-9999. Get your beef in. And Reid Wilkins to finish off hour 2. This is the Nielsen Show, presented by Southport Chevrolet on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta.
CFL Week 4 gets started tonight. The 0-2 Elks hit the road to take on the 2-0 Blue Bombers, where they have lost their last 12 matchups against Winnipeg. Running back Brady Oliveira is expected to miss his second straight game. Kickoff for this one going at 6:30, where Dustin Nielsen has the call. A trade to announce in the NHL as J.J. Paterka has been traded to the Utah Mammoth. In return, Buffalo receives defenseman Michael Kesselring and forward Josh Doan. The NBA draft got underway last night, where Duke star Cooper Flagg does in fact go first overall, becoming the newest member of the Dallas Mavs, while the Toronto Raptors at 9th overall select Colin Murray Boyles from the University of South Carolina over to the majors. The Blue Jays lost to the Guardians last night. 5-4 is the score in Max Scherzer's return. The Jays cap off their 3-game series against the Guardians later today. First pitch going at 11:10. Closer to home, the series is now split as the Victoria Harbour Cats edge out the Riverhawks by the score of 6-4 last night. That series concludes later today. First pitch going at 6:30. And the Energy City Cactus Rats look to snap their 4-game losing streak when they take on the Swift Current for 57s. That one getting started at 1:05. Round 1 of the Rocket Classic is underway, where Min Woo Lee is tied for first through 8. He is 4 under and Canadian. Adam Hadwin has dropped to 9th. He is 2 under through 10. This sports update is brought to you by the fine folks at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki, your dealer for life.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a figure skater. He wears like a white outfit and he does interpretive ice dances to my life's journey.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Installment of the Nielson Show, presented by Southport Chevrolet here on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta. Of course, we are coming to you live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio, where they got these snack wraps on special right now. You can get them in your belly while you're reading NHL trade rumors, free agent rumors, draft content.
So many rumors.
The mill is churning. It's like we're in the Netherlands.
Yes, that's right. We're tilting at windmills.
Yeah. Same thing. Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen. Of course, you heard in the sports update with YouTube Trev that Dusty will have the call tonight, kicking off Week 4 in the Canadian Football League, Bombers and Elks. That'll get underway later at 6:30. You can join Maddie and Milne 5:30 as they will have your green and gold kickoff show right here on EST, getting you set for that game and breaking it down as well on the post-game show. The rest of the slate will have Montreal visiting Hamilton tomorrow night. May have to reach out to old Marshall Ferguson. Maybe get him on the show tomorrow and discuss Week 4. BC and Saskatchewan Saturday at 5. And then finishing off Sunday, it's Toronto in Ottawa, also at 5. This is my perfect CFL summer stack where you get the Thursday, the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday. One game a day we can focus on, and it takes you through your weekend. Also, a little PGA, the Rocket Classic underway from the Detroit Golf Club, and Trev will be keeping you up to date on that. So lots of stuff going on. Formula One returns this weekend as well with the Austrian Grand Prix, my favorite stretch of that schedule. All the Euro dates now. You wake up early in the morning and it's on. You get your coffee. You're ready to go.
Did you get any reaction around here about the Canadian Grand Prix? Any chit chat?
Not Gager's the big race guy here, so he talks a lot about it. But I mean, it was I like the fact that the weather was nice. Mm-hmm. That was good to watch on the eyes. I know last year they had a bit of the wet. But no, I mean it was Verstappen and Russell getting slapped and sent to the principal's office. And then the McLaren duel there with between Piastri and Norris. So and then Stroll finished.
Yeah. So hey, good for you, Lance. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Didn't blow up your engine halfway around the track.
No. I got beef right now for Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. Eat fresh, eat local, eat Acme. Acme Meats serving Edmonton for over 100 years. There were rumors, I don't know if it came true, that Corey the Butcher was going to be bringing show meat yesterday to Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola's live on location at the Capilano Boston Pizza. I don't know if that ever went off. It did? Where is the meat? Have we secured the meat? Did they eat all the meat?
I don't think the meat made its way to the headquarters.
I got beef with that
EST.
then.
Yeah, so do I.
I got beef that we don't have any beef.
I was going to say,
Pretty sure I
the
heard
lack
them
of
talking
beef
about
is
it.
your beef.
It's a snake eating the tail thing here. We do have some paninos that I will be going and grabbing today. They will make their way to the studio. I guarantee
Yes.
that. We will be eating paninos tomorrow and drinking whatever beer is supplied for Sobeys and
All of
Safeway
it.
Liquor.
Perfect.
But go check out Corey and Acme Meats, 9570 76th Avenue in the Ritchie block. What do we got beef with, boys? 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat. If you have a beef, again, I guess like I was looking forward to some of that jerky, but imagine getting gifted with some there and then just eating it all without bringing any back. I have beef with that. Do you have a beef? A lot of people having beef with Gaz's take as well on the because as we said, the player, and I would have been guilty watching it originally and saying, oh, he doesn't like going. But if you watch it over and over again with the body language detective, he was just like, it was a relief F-bomb in a sense.
Well,
or
that-
of like a
that-
disbelief, like
that's
I'm
just
getting
kinda-
drafted in the
that's
NBA.
Kind of my point is like that he's a 20-year-old kid who has a isolated camera on him at all times. And then no matter the reaction, we are going to overanalyze it. That's what we do, right? In this media landscape, in the age of the social media like we have it, we just over contextualize everything. And also, to me, I kind of feel like, and this is a pan-Canadian thing as well, but Toronto is split into two parts. Toronto is split into the group of newcomers, people who
Careful
maybe whose time in the city does not extend back to your grandparents.
English not the first language, or we
who have an idea of the Big Smoke, this plucky city that no one really notices. And then there's the other half that have come to that city, maybe from other parts of Canada, other parts of the world.
Yes.
Who see this world-class city. And it is. It is a world-class city.
Hogtown.
Well, it is like when you talk about where like the decisions are made in this world, you can look at the Londons, you can look at the New Yorks, you can look at the Berlins.
When you go to an important office and they have the clocks
Yes.
of those select cities, right?
Toronto is one of them now. Toronto is a world-class city. And it's the other half that has this inferiority complex that just assumes that anything that is not gushing about the city that they're in is criticism. And the truth is that's just not the case. And it's not the case for Canada either. To me, the comparison between Calgary and Edmonton has always been Edmonton is a city that has decided that if you don't get it, that's your problem, right? If you don't get why this is a great place to be, that's your problem. We're not in the business of trying to convince you of anything. And then when you go to Calgary, all they want to do is get into fights with people about how great their city is. And it's that sort of insecurity that is a bit off-putting at times. And I feel like half of Toronto has that same sort of insecurity where they feel like they need to immediately get into a fight with somebody if you're not telling them this is a great city.
Yeah.
Whereas it's a great city. It's a world-class city. No one thinks it's punching below its weight.
We should have known this even back to the time where SCTV did the skit where John Candy gets the car and they go to Toronto.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
We're going on, what was it, Yonge Street?
Yeah.
That's where they, and then they go and they see the bright lights and the skyline and everything else that's included.
Yeah.
I just think it's tough to talk Toronto out here where everybody always, you punch up.
You want to hate them.
You hate Vancouver.
And you should punch up.
You
right?
Oh, look at those guys.
Right? Like, we don't spend a lot of time picking on Saskatoon around here.
Oh, we do.
Well,
there's a lot.
That's more big
That's
brother.
punching down.
That's more big brother, little
Yeah.
brother sort of thing. Like I feel like most of us consider Saskatoon part of the family more than the enemy.
Thanks.
Well, it's true.
I appreciate that.
It's true, right? Like fellow CN town, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that connection there. Atif's got a beef, long-winded. It's voice to text.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to read it.
Oh, thank God.
Trev, do you have a beef that you'd like to share
that
with
was
the class?
going to be my beef, and you just took my beef from me.
A beef that I read at Atif's beef.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, we can go back. We can circle around here if we have time. Ahead of Reid Wilkins here. Trev, what do you got?
Yeah, I got beef with seasonal allergies. It's been hitting me really, really hard lately.
You're the worst.
What? It's true. Every single day. Like, I don't know. I feel like every year it gets worse and worse.
Go see your doctor, man. There's like Blexen now.
I don't have a doctor
good
here.
Blexen.
I've
That's
already
my buddy's son's name.
Oh, yeah? He named
Plays
him
hockey.
after...
Sure.
Yeah.
Blexen, Beck.
That's a nice name.
You know?
Yeah, I already went and got some Reactin, and I'm already out. I went there, like, I'm going through it every single day. I pop one and just gone, and it does nothing. I feel
Maybe
like
you
I feel
just
like
need
I've
to
got.
toughen up.
Well, yeah, like I tried. I didn't take any today, and it's actually surprise. It's actually today's been my best day. But
What's your water intake like?
I drink lots of water. That's
but
not
like,
an issue. Probably
how much water do you
see that? Probably 2 of those a day.
How many times? 2 of those? You need to be like...
That's plenty.
You need to be thinking you have some sort of a problem.
that is correct. That is the right amount of water.
Perhaps an allergy test.
But
maybe it's not the season.
every day I'm driving
Scratch
in
him with a fork.
My
Sure.
nose is just continuing, like it gets worse and worse and worse. It is tough.
Maybe
the must-
it could
maybe
be
the
the
mustache
laundry
isn't
laundry
help.
detergent
Ah,
that
yeah.
you use.
Yeah.
There's lots of things like you could.
I had
don't
to move
know,
away
man,
from
'cause
Tide.
It wasn't
years
like this
ago.
3 months ago, and I'm still using the same stuff.
What
So,
happened 3 months ago?
I mean, I'm starting to go out more,
Does
right?
this coincide with the move?
No,
Yeah,
no,
do you
no,
have a
no,
mite
no.
problem?
Just saying, like what
dust
3 months
mite?
ago could have maybe aside from the
it's-
allergies? Because
no, it is seasonal allergies. It's something I've always dealt with, but like this year, I wake up and like I can't breathe out of my nose. I've never had that, and like I'm getting up, I'm like even right now it's pretty plugged. On my way in, my nose is. I know this is gross, but it's dripping. And as soon as I come in here, I gotta go straight to the Kleenex box. Do all that stuff. But
Tried a neti pot? Have you?
yeah.
I don't know what that is, but I just. I
you
can't-
go. You should. Do you have one you can bring in for tomorrow? You can do a neti
I've
pot
got
on
the
air.
sprayer. Maybe we'll do that.
It's but you got to go full neti.
Yeah,
Uke uses the neti.
Yeah.
You
know
use
what
it at
that
work.
is.
Have you seen the ones?
So Google it up. You'll love it.
Have you seen the ones that like goes double?
Navage.
The Navage.
Navage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that would be good on air. Does it? If anyone can bring in, one of those Navages,
we'll
do
clean
that
it
live on air.
Do all that.
Yeah.
Navage.
You couldn't pay me enough to be on that commercial.
See,
we could try it here.
I disagree. I think you're not that expensive.
No. Well,
Yeah.
it's rude. Anyway, but
The
seasonal
neti pot
allergies.
might be the way though.
I got beef. Don't like them. Can't stand them.
That's I got beef for Corey the Butcher and Acme Meats. Real quickly here at Teef, I got beef. My beef is with telemarketers when they claim that you're wasting their time when they're the ones that actually called you. It's hilarious to play along with them and let them see their speech and then in the end say, I'm not interested. And then they claim that you're the one that wasted their time. I'm not the one that called you. You called me a Teef. Any thoughts parting?
I think they're a match. I think they're a match made in heaven is what I think.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Like if you want to think of, unstoppable force meets immovable object.
Yeah, who blinks?
Like telemarketer versus Atif sounds pretty perfect to me. That makes me really happy. Thank you, Atif. It makes me really happy.
I think it'd be a pickup up at Play Alberta. Hey,
think of you on the phone with a telemarketer. Just that's
something.
Yeah.
Send us the audio next time, Atif. That's I got beef.
Tell me more.
Acme Meats, 9570 76.
Do you have time for a short survey? Do I?
What's
I have
your
time
name
for
again?
the long one.
Yeah. Reid Wilkins is joining us now. We appreciate his time. He's a regular Thursday guest at this time slot. I had thought that he was on vacation for the week. So to my surprise, Reid pops into the office yesterday. I said, Reid. And he said, good morning, Eric. And I said, I thought you were off. And I said, well, that changes things. I didn't have him penciled in for today because I thought he was obviously on holiday and out camping somewhere or doing something like that. But
is he a camper? Reid, are you a camper?
I just assumed that's what people do on their week off. You're not, eh?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've never camped and I never will.
Yeah. You're urban.
You've never camped?
Look, we evolved as a species to build structures that allow us to live and sleep indoors.
Yeah.
So I don't need to go live or sleep outdoors. And I've also learned that many people who say they camp don't truly camp. They drive what are they called? Motorhomes, RVs. I don't know what the term is now. RVs, I guess, that might be the size of the actual home that they live in or close to it. And they just drive that to a campground, and that's where they sleep. They just happen to be, in a rural, not even rural, like a nature setting in a campground, but they basically have driven a small house there in which to stay. Like I have a couple cousins who camp, like they drive out somewhere remote and they have a tent and they fish and cook the fish, or whatever. I don't know what they beat up a squirrel and you cook the squirrel, whatever's involved there, debone the squirrel and cook the squirrel over an open flame. So that's camping. But no, I don't think I've ever camped unless when I was real little, and it does not interest me. And I know I'm somebody who says, well, you can't really say until you try it. Fair enough, but I feel like some things I just know wouldn't work for me, so I'm not going to do it.
Every rule has its exception. We'll give you this one.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Geez, Will hasn't
I know somebody who camps
very long.
That could
He's already
probably
given me exceptions.
Somebody who camps that could probably take you on a.
I've
You got a big tent, don't you?
Yeah, I've enjoyed camping, but nothing worse than being camping with someone who doesn't want to be there. So,
well, see, and that's the thing. I would drag it down for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'd be like, all right, I want to. I need I want to stream some music and read a book or something.
You'd
I guess
be
you
one
could
of
do
the
that,
many
Ken, but
hikers that has gone missing if you came camping with me.
yeah.
Yeah,
that would be me for sure. That'd be me
Two of
for
you
sure.
deboning a squirrel.
Yeah. I want to show you
s-
something down by the river, I'd say. And we'd take care of that situation. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go camping with me. I got to say, too, Trev, I love Trev, as everybody knows. But man, oh man, for the audience who only listen to us on streaming, because not everybody's on YouTube, obviously, they must think Trev is 95, maybe 100 years of age. Last week his beef was that he would never see the Oilers win the Stanley Cup in his life.
Yeah,
that was his beef. And then today his beef was seasonal allergies, which can affect any ages. To be fair, obviously, just the way he talked about them, it was as if he'd been dealing with this for several decades, and it yet to find a solution.
Yeah, no, you're painting a real picture here. The three of us going on a camping trip would not end well. You're right. Like dealing with seasonal allergies, and I don't want to be here. I already have two sons. I know what that feels like.
Yeah. Well, see, I'd be fine going. Like if you were like, hey, Reid, we're gonna go somewhere and I got this amazing walk planned through this trail. Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then when it was over and we're back in the vehicle,
I
would be like, okay, now we're driving back to Edmonton so I can go sleep in my house. So I'm fine with outdoor naturey stuff. I guess I have a strange objection to sleeping outside, sleeping somewhere where a bear could come and cuddle up next to you or decide to eat you, perhaps. Those are my sleeping in the cold and rainy conditions. I want to control the temperature.
I see.
Yeah, and even going to the cabin now is not a. You can go to a mansion.
Reid,
people have mansions.
Reid, none of your complaints are irrational.
He's got beef with cabin.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're not crazy.
Well, I try to be rational even when I complain. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
But you make a good point, Eric. You say because when somebody says to me, "We're going to the cabin," I think of a wood structure, perhaps a wood log structure, probably a small living area. A small kitchen, a bed and a bunk bed, maybe all in one room. Like we're talking 400 to 500 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you see people like, oh, we went to our cabin this weekend. And I'm like, that's twice the size of your house.
Yeah.
Like this. Why isn't that where you live? And then Edmonton is where your cabin is, by Pleasant View Cemetery near Southgate. That's your cabin where you come in to stay when you need to do your shopping and do your city stuff. And the much larger place is where you actually live full time.
Yeah, Eric's cabin is a shipping container he has buried in the ground. He just goes and does ayahuasca there. So
yeah.
I thought that was called a bunker. Yeah.
All right. People want to get to the...
Oh, sorry. Well, if I ever ran for politics, I would just run on the platform that it would be a law that your cabin has to be smaller than your home.
Sounds like a vote getter.
You've got mine. Yeah. Kane dealt yesterday. I know you hit it on your show, obviously, as the news kind of rolled out through the morning into the afternoon. But to surmise your thoughts on that, what happens next? Arvidsson? I mean, that's where we're going next, is it not?
Well, I would think so, and I know there's that no trade there, but obviously it's been a lot of speculation that he'd be willing to go after how this season went for him. Yeah, I mean they got to free up a little bit of money. A big chunk of whatever they free up is going to go to Bouchard, and apparently a noticeable chunk is going to go to Trent Frederick once that's announced. And then, I mean, look, it's interesting talking about this team, because they are a very good team. So I think I don't want to talk about this team as like a hugely deficient team. And we were all around for 10 years out of the playoffs when they were probably icing at least half an AHL lineup some years, maybe 2/3. But I do think they got to round things out. I think on the fourth line, I think on the fourth line, you'd like a player or two who knows they are fourth liners. You don't need Jeff Skinner trying to figure out how to play down there. And a couple other guys who have, even Arvidsson to some extent, like he was supposed to be a top 6 player, and then he's kind of in one of the bottom 6 roles. I guess you need the Gadjevics and the Greers, who, aren't sexy players by any means, and I think have their deficiencies, but they knew what they had to do for Florida, and they went out and did it. And there wasn't an expectation that they were trying to get promoted to line 1, or that they needed to get even, a point every second game. They were out there to provide energy and hit, and some nights not play a lot, and they were fine with that. So I think they need a little bit of beef and a little bit of somebody who knows that they're in that role. And sadly, the age-old thing, and then maybe this is going to be even more important, the age-old thing for this team is Leon Draisaitl needs wingers. And it's, I mean, I'm sick of saying it. You guys are sick of saying it. The fans are sick of hearing it and talking about it with their friends and colleagues. But it's true. I mean, it was supposed to be Arvidsson and Skinner and maybe Kane at, last July. We didn't know what was going to happen with Kane's injury. None of those guys really played there, and you had Kapanen and Podkolzin and another guy cycling through there. So that's going to be tougher to get those players. You might have to take a chance on somebody. I just threw it, and this is speculation on my part. I don't know anything secret or anything like that. Like, I threw out the name Anthony Mantha on my show yesterday, and a lot of people were like, "He's terrible. He's slow. He was injured." Well, yeah, I get it. That's why he'd be cheap. And I don't think he's terrible, but he's coming off ACL. You saw what that did to Connor Brown. But, he's a big guy, and he can get in the way, and maybe he could occupy some space and finish some chances in front of the net. I also want to throw other thing here, guys, and I didn't talk about this yesterday on our show. I know Stan Bowman said that he doesn't think the defense is going to need a lot of change. And I understand that. Nurse is under contract. Wallman's here for another year. You got Bouchard. But I think, again, for that number 6 role, they're going to need somebody kind of like I was talking about with the fourth line that knows that's who they are. They defend, they block shots. Like maybe a better version of Desharnais, right? Who doesn't have any illusions that he's going to, become a puck mover and start getting a lot of points. And I do think, I don't know. This is just me wondering. Again, this is not anything that I have inside information on. I just think I got to wonder about this. Do we not all have to wonder about the health of Matthias Ekholm? Do we not all have to wonder if he's going to be a 23 to 24 minute player anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, he's 35. I think he was really gutting it out in the playoffs, and we didn't hear from him after the year. Bowman wasn't asked about him in his end of season avail, but I'd like to know, and maybe we won't know until training camp, like, how is Matthias Ekholm? Like, is there sort of a consideration about not outright replacing him, but about perhaps having somebody warming up in the bullpen or who can do it some nights? Like, I hope he's okay. And I know he's hugely popular since he came here, as he should be, because he's been great. And I think even playing with said what it sounds like a pretty damaged groin in the playoffs. I thought he gutted it out and still did everything he could, though he didn't look like himself. So I just wonder if that might have to be a consideration on the blue line at some point. Maybe they leave that till in season. I think sometimes the GM says, okay, this is done for now. Now this is a November or December project or a trade deadline project. But it's just that's an important role on the team that I hope that player can still fill it as well as he has for the last 2.5 years.
Bombers favored by 11 tonight out in Winnipeg to kick off week 4 in the CFL. You like the Elks to cover that 11-point spread, Reid?
No, I don't. I think the Bombers will cover. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not optimistic on the Elks right now. It's funny. I've even had some people say to me, like, geez, man, like, what's your problem? Like, I don't have a problem. I've watched them for the last 4 years, and I know I know that this is a different regime. And I do think they're going to improve over the course of the season. And I do think, they have a coach, GM, president that are willing to make champion. They already cut the Rugamba on the secondary because of some of the deep balls. They got to try to clean that up. I just continue to be concerned about the offense and what we're going to see from Trey Ford. Like, can they start marching the ball and getting first downs and eating up some clock? We know he can make spectacular plays. Those are important. And in the CFL, you can't go 5 yards at a time. You got to hit a 20 or 30 yarder, but they haven't been able to do that either. So, I'd like to think they could keep it close and pull it out in the fourth quarter, but they simply don't possess the ball for long enough. I mean, for them to win in Winnipeg, you're going to have like a 9 or 11 play drive that ends with points, and you eat up time and you put a little pressure on Winnipeg as opposed to doing what happened in BC, where in the second half, Nathan Rourke was like, whatever, I'm going to get the ball back in 3 plays, because they're going to punt. So hopefully they can do that. I do think at some point, if I'm totally logical about it, they're going to win. They're going to catch a bad team. They're going to improve. But this is a tough one tonight because man, Winnipeg looked good. Now, granted, Winnipeg has only played BC and they didn't have Rourke.
Yeah.
So I guess we got to factor that in. But I think this is a tough one for the Elks tonight.
No easy outs on this CFL schedule this season, and it might just be the Elks who are that out. Penner's Pancakes to finish off here. There's no BS from Reid. Straight shooter that tells it like it is. Love it. People can catch you 3 to 6 later today alongside Jason Milne. Reid, Wilkins, appreciate your time, man, and we'll see you around the office.
Well, you're both wonderful. Trev, I think you're also quite incredible, and I can't wait to see you in person and get an allergy update.
You too, Reid. Thank you.
There you have it. Reid Wilkins, 3 to 6, Monday to Friday here on Edmonton Sports Talk alongside Jason Milne. 8 o'clock, we're going to get to Bruce Boudreau here after the top of the hour as the guests continue to check in and chime in on the show. We'll have kind of easy trivia and 3 questions too many after Bruce Boudreau. So around the 8:15 to 8:20 mark, be by your phone and text into Trev that you want to play. $50 on the line to Mr. Mike's will be up for grabs. So be aware. Once again, trivia 8:15, 8:20 after Bruce Boudreau for ProAm Sports. Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen today. Lieutenant Eric, YouTube Trev's got a sports update for Windsor Plywood Leduc as the third and final hour of the Nielsen Show continues next here on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta.
Week 4 of the CFL gets underway tonight as the 0-2 Elks hit the road to take on the 2-0 Blue Bombers, where they have lost their last 12 matchups against Winnipeg. Running back Brady Oliveira is expected to miss the second straight game. Kickoff for this one going at 6:30, where Dustin Nielsen has the call. A trade to announce in the NHL as J.J. Paterka has been traded to the Utah Mammoth. In return, Buffalo receives defenseman Michael Kesselring and forward Josh Doan. The NBA draft got underway last night, where Duke star Cooper Flagg does in fact go first overall, becoming the newest member of the Dallas Mavs, while the Raptors at 9th overall select Colin Murray Boyles from the University of South Carolina. Over to the majors, the Blue Jays lost to the Guardians last night. 5-4 is the score, and Max Scherzer's return. The Jays cap off their 3-game series against the Guardians later today. First pitch going at 11:10. Closer to home, the series is now split as the Victoria Harbour Cats edge out the Edmonton Riverhawks by the score of 6-4 last night. That series concludes later today, first pitch going at 6:30. And the Energy City Cactus Rats look to snap their 4-game losing streak when they take on the Swift Current 57s, that one getting started at 1:05. Round 1 of the Rocket Classic is underway, where Min Woo Lee is tied for first. He is 4 under through 10. And Canadian Adam Hadwin has fallen all the way down to 30th. He is 1 under through 11. The Sports Update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc, locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since 1993. Doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff at Windsor Plywood Leduc.
Against the neighborhood bully, kicking his behind left, right, and center. And when it was all said and done, he was a little bit upset, so he punched me in the mouth. My uncles were over on the side observing, talking amongst themselves, adult things. When he punched me in the mouth, I decided I'm running to my uncle. You know what he did? He pushed me back to him. I went back and punched me in my mouth again. I ran to my uncle looking for protection. Need a big bro to protect me. He pushed me back again. And you know what I did? I faced him in the eye. And I said, my uncle's not going to help me. So I punched him in the face. And then I looked him in the eye and I said, then what? Now what? Now what? Now what are you going to do? You're simply the best.
No, but not yet. I mean, we won't do that. 8:05 here on the Nielson Show as we trek along. A busy business-like show today with a cavalcade of stars and guests. The Nielson Show presented by Southport Chevrolet. We're coming to you from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio here on Edmonton Sports Talk, the iHeart, the TuneIn Radio app, and on YouTube. If you are watching along this morning, hit the thumbs up. We're very close to changing 200, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Of course, Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta. You can find Dusty's Early Bird Special up there right now. And right now, as mentioned, we will have kind of easy trivia coming up after this guest, but it's Bruce Boudreau. He'll be joining us for ProAm Sports. Your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. Once again, we're letting you know that they can help you with your team fundraiser with no-risk auction and raffle items. Check them out in-store for all the details or online at proamsports.ca. And you can pop in and see the Cooks and Boys St. Albert Trail and 128th Ave. Bruce Boudreau joins us here, and we appreciate your time, Bruce. Thanks for kind of shifting things around, not joining us at the regular time on this busy, silly season. You got free agency right around the corner. Obviously, the decentralized draft going down tomorrow in LA. But just in terms of an overview with the Oilers, lots of stuff to do. Lots of stuff happening yesterday with the Kane deal. Where do you kind of see them going free agency here? Let's start with that. And I know Kane getting shipped out yesterday leaves a sizable hole in that forward group. Money's going to have to be spent on Evan Bouchard, Frederick, obviously. That deal is going to happen. But is there a name out there that pops off to you that you wouldn't mind seeing the Oilers kind of go after, whether it be a big fish or maybe one of the smaller ones?
Well, you know what? I haven't really thought about it. I was thinking about the Kane deal, and I thought it was good for Edmonton. I mean, let's face it, he wasn't there for the first 82 games. He had a up and down playoff where he scored 5 goals, 5-on-5, but he took some really dumb penalties that hurt in the end. But I mean, it frees up money to sign Bouchard. And I mean, as far as a player, like you're going to get Hyman back, and I think the Frederick, none of you guys probably watched too much on Frederick when he was in Boston, because you don't get a chance to see him that often, but he played first and second line, scored 17 or 18 goals, I think, there this year. I think they're saying, you know what, he can do the job for an awful lot less, and he's younger. than Evander, and we're gonna try to fit him into that spot. And I think that's what they're going to try to do. I think they'll take the money, they'll sign Bouchard, they'll do something. I don't think they're done by any long shot yet. I still think that they're going to do something with the goaltenders now. And don't get me wrong, I think both of the goalies are really good. But sometimes you just need a different look. Like, I mean, coming back, if they end up in the finals again next year with the same two, I just think that there's sometimes you have to make a change. And I think that's where they're going to make a change. And I think they're going to do one blockbuster trade of some sort, because I think they have to show Connor that, hey, we're here to win it. Like, I mean, we don't want you to go anywhere. We want you to be an Oiler for the rest of your life. And this is what we're doing to show you that we're always going to be competitive and ready to win the Stanley Cup. That's what I'm thinking.
Last offseason, we saw the Oilers go out early and strike while the iron was hot as far as free agency. They brought in some decently big names, a few surprises. And yet none of those moves really transferred to success for those players on the ice for the Oilers. And at the same time, during the season, they went out and made a waiver claim on Kapanen. They brought in some guys that did have a positive impact. As a former head coach, obviously you like both approaches, but if you had to choose one, do you want to have that team on paper that you can prep the entire offseason, or do you want a GM that's going to be addressing some weaknesses as they arrive during the season?
Well, I think it's a question that's both. I mean, the coach is going to put their list together and say, listen, and they're going to have the conversations with the GM. And listen, don't get me wrong, the GM watches all the time, but the coach is right down on the battlefield, and he knows the players better than anybody, bar none. So he's going to be able to say, listen, I think we really have to upgrade at this spot and that spot, see what you can do. If not, our team is good enough to live with it, but we can do it during the course of the year, because every day that goes by, you save money on the cap and such. So I think with the Oilers, though, what they want to do is I think they really want to show Connor that they mean business for the next few years. So it wouldn't surprise me if they come in there and Stan Bowman goes and does something that really surprises everybody, but in a very positive way for the Oilers. And I think they got to get a little bit younger. The last I counted, they had 8 players over 30 years old. They lost one in Evander Kane. But I mean, if they could still get younger and stay just as good as they were, then I think then they can keep this team going for the next few years at the level they're at.
Yeah, and I think one of, if not the oldest rosters in the league last year, and yes, younger would be an option. I think going back to your Frederic point too, I confess I did not watch a lot of Boston Bruins games where Frederic was featured a lot, but I think you can always gauge when a player is shipped out at the response of the fan base. And I mean, it was a no, don't let this guy go. I can't believe it. So nobody's an Evander Kane. I think we spoke earlier. You can't replicate what he brings. But Frederic would be filling those shoes and checking a lot of boxes. And just going back to the goaltending, Bruce, would you be surprised, though? I know where you come out on this, but would you be surprised if the start of next season it is still Skinner and Pickard minding the net?
I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean, I just think that they've gone through it. I mean, they've changed this year. They pulled Skinner, 4 times, I think, minimum in the playoffs, maybe 5. I mean, and I think he's a really good goaltender. Don't get me wrong, but I just think sometimes you need a different look. Like, I mean, you look at the Leafs right now. Marner is an absolutely outstanding, one of the best players in the world, but I mean, the Leafs are letting him go because they want a different look. And I think that the Oilers are the same way in net. I think they just need a different look. I think the fans would say, oh no, we're coming back with Skinner and Pickard again. I mean, same old. But that's whether I believe it or not, that's the way I feel that the average fan is going to think, which is why I think they'll try to go somewhere differently. I think both of them are really good. What Pickard did in the playoffs was outstanding. I heard he's an unbelievable guy in the room.
Yeah.
You got to keep that. I think they'll keep one of them. I just, to me, you could get, there's a lot of teams out there that would say, hey, boy, I would love to have a Stuart Skinner. And if you can make a move, I think what would be great in Edmonton, I think John Gibson would be outstanding. He's one of my favorite goaltenders. I had him for 4 years. And I think on a team like Edmonton, he would excel like there's no other. So, I mean, I think there's things that you always think of to try to get better. And I think Edmonton's no different. Their brain trust is out there saying, how can we make this team better by 2 games next year? You know, like, I mean, get over that hump of Florida. And maybe the one way is to sign all Florida's free agents so Florida doesn't have them. That would be the one way, but I don't think they have the money to do that.
We had Luke Gazdic on earlier, and he floated, I mean, one of many scenarios that could happen is Bouchard gets an offer sheet. Maybe you go get Ekblad and you got a handful of picks. I don't know, something like that. But I wanted your thoughts, too. And Mitch Marner, where would you see him landing, and what would you think would be the best fit for a guy like him right now at this stage of his career?
Well, I mean, I think he's still young enough. He's in his prime right now. I mean, I think Vegas would be a great fit for him. They seem to always find a way to do something. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but they find a way. And I mean, they're a team that, like, I mean, has very few draft choices. They put themselves in a position where, like, I mean, they've got to go for it every year. And I mean, they can't just rely on draft picks because they don't have any. I mean, Dorofeyev is, I think, the only draft pick that they've had that has made any success from what I know of. But I think he would look good there. I think if I was a team like Anaheim with a young team, I'd go make a move to get a guy like Marner. They need somebody to go along with their young centerman Leo Carlson, who is supposed to be very, very good. The other team, I think that like, I mean, and you don't hear nothing, and this is just as long a shot on the board as anyone is Chicago. Well, at some point, they got to get out of the I really stink mode, and Bedard has got to get somebody that he can play with that's very similar to like a Matthews, a shooter, and what better way to put that kind of market back on track by getting a guy like Mitch Marner to play with Bedard. Or you lose, if you don't get anybody really good to play with Bedard, you lose the guy that all the fuss was about 2 years ago, because he's turned into a pretty average player on that team.
NHL draft obviously going tomorrow, Bruce. It'll be a little different, the decentralized style, much like in the NFL and the NBA. I probably know where you're going to go with this, but which model would you prefer? The draft floor, or what they're kind of experimenting with in Los Angeles tomorrow?
You had a couple older GMs that really thought, hey, I don't want to do all this, and so let's go to this model, and they were powerful GMs, so they went with it. But I would bet a lot of money that if they will go back to what they have had in the past, because it wasn't just a draft. It was where every team, minor, junior, professional, had representatives there, guys looking for jobs, everything. All the hockey world met at this place. And it was more than just picking 7 players. It was all about the getting together and making moves, looking for jobs, finding jobs, doing all of that stuff. So I really hope it goes back to what it used to be. Because, hey, listen, I started going to the draft in '92. I was still a player looking for maybe I could get into coaching, and that's how I got into coaching, was going to the draft. And I went to every draft for like 25 years. So I mean, it was a fun place to be. You see guys that you haven't seen all year that that you haven't talked to. And I mean, you get to market yourself everywhere. And like I said, I got 2 jobs by going to the draft. I got hired my first coaching job in the Colonial Hockey League, and my first interview was with Dave Taylor, that I ended up coaching their American League team. So I mean, I think it's very, very worthwhile to have the draft where there's a lot of people.
Yeah, the NHL mixer, if you will. I mean, that's kind of spot on there. Before we let you go quickly, like clockwork, somebody has a wrestling question for you. Jordan asks, got to ask Bruce his WWE Night of Champions predictions for this weekend.
Well, let me preface it by also saying that's where I met Kevin Owens for the first time. Was at the draft in Montreal. Yeah. So I mean, the Night of Champions. Who knows? Like, as long as Cena stays in there, I don't care. To be honest, I mean, he's got to get out of there because everybody knows he's not. He's the guy, the nicest guy in the world that's trying to be a meanie.
Yeah.
And it just isn't working for me. Like, I mean, it might work for other people, but when he sits there and he's talking bad about the crowd, and yet he's the #1 Make-A-Wish guy that everybody's got to see in his life, I have a hard time him bad-mouthing kids in the crowd. It's just not him. And so, and I know he's doing this last tour and that, but who's he fighting? Cody Rhodes, or at the Night of Champions? Who's John Cena fighting?
Oh, I mean, that's a great. Is it Cena? CM Punk?
Yeah, I mean, CM Punk's really good at talking, and I wish he'd quit wrestling. We need some, you know what, for wrestling, we need some old time. I was just on a show with Edge. That's where I was late, like coming on to you guys. And I mean, those are the kind of guys we need to get there, get back to the blood and guts of wrestling. You know, like, I mean, let's have the barbed wire match again, like you'd have in the 80s.
Bruce, you're talking to a big ECW guy here and myself, so I hear you.
Yes.
Edge, the Brood, Gangrel, spitting the blood all over the place.
Yeah, what happened to guys cutting themselves for effect, hey?
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen when they do a documentary on Abdullah the Butcher? His head looks like it's been had an axe wielded in there about 47 times.
Yeah.
I'm with you, and I think a lot of our listeners and viewers are as well. But we'll leave you there, Bruce. Always a pleasure, man. Thanks so much for taking the time, and enjoy tomorrow's draft, albeit decentralized.
All right, we'll talk to you guys again.
There you have it, Bruce Boudreau. Love him, awesome.
I think he called for John Cena to chair shot a sick kid.
That's what you're kind of reading from what he's. Yeah, exactly.
He wants to see Cena go into the stallery and just
Bruce is out for blood.
Just take a kid through a table.
That was wrestling. It was you thought that was the limit. Hey, no, we will push that boundary. You're right. Go to the story, make some kids dream, and hit him over the head with a chair. That's wrestling, baby. Come on.
You want to be a heel? Be a heel.
Yeah. Time for kind of easy trivia. We'll keep moving along here. Jeff Paterson, the Canucks Army, will be joining us as well, coming up at around 8:30 after the sports update here. But let's squeeze in some kind of easy trivia and 3 questions too many. I know Trev, you wrangled somebody on there, did you, for the trivia today?
Yes, I did.
I hope they're a Bruce Boudreau fan, because these questions are in honor of Bruce Boudreau.
You're right. You did have a wrestling tie-in. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Because we got bumped by Bruce.
Yeah.
We've done a wrestling kind of easy trivia.
Who do we got?
This is Chris.
Chris. With a K or a CH?
CH. Yeah. Yeah, CH.
Chris will be playing for Mr. Mike's. They're turning up the sizzle this summer with Platterpalooza. Barbecue rib platters, coastal combos with lobsters and prawns. It's big flavor, Will, all summer long. Plus, you can enter for your shot at sizzling summer prizes. Get into Mr. Mike's. Platterpalooza is on now. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally. Enjoy casually. Hello, Chris. How are you doing?
Good, guys.
Have you played before?
I have, yes.
Perfect. So you know how this goes.
Are you a WWE fan, Chris?
Well, I'm a little nervous about that.
Are you a WWF fan?
Yes.
I'm not a huge WWE fan.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Might be
well
kind of hard trivia.
I'll get Roseanne queued up here in a second. And well, good luck to you, man. I'll start the ticker. We'll start the ticker after I read the first question. You need 3 out of 5. Finish these wrestler names: Hacksaw,
Jim Duggan,
Rowdy,
Roddy Piper,
Mick,
Foley,
Jake,
the Snake,
and Ricky.
Steamboat.
Yeah,
he got it.
You got it. 5 out of 5.
That's 5 out of 5. That's kind of a wrestling fan. Nailed it.
Who do you think you are? I am. Get it right.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
That's happening.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules.
Ooh, you better believe that's happening.
And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
That's happening.
The first year, we took it to the limit.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
Let's go to Chris.
Little bait and switch there on us, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know about wrestling.
Yeah. And a little bit of a pause. I mean, you had me
dramatic.
sweating, I tell you that.
Yeah.
Congrats to Chris.
Just for the full answer, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yes, and Ricky the
Dragon Steamboat. But you got it.
Mr. Mike's.
That's still 5 out of 5.
Yeah,
that's still
Platypalooza.
5 out of 5.
Congratulations to Chris. Off to Mr. Mike's Platypalooza. Wil Fraser and for Dustin Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric, YouTube Trev. Let's get into 3 questions right now for the great staff at Park Mazda and their dealer principal, Mitch Lewicki, who is very excited for the start of Wimbledon.
Okay.
Park Mazda, your dealer.
I am too. I love
I know you are, and I know Dave Jameson probably is.
That's a bucket list. That's a bucket list sporting event.
It's
for me.
a big. They call it a major, correct? In tennis,
Yeah,
like
it's one of the 4.
much like the
You
golf.
betcha.
Yeah. So Wimbledon from what is it? The London Club or whatever.
From Wimbledon.
It's from Wimbledon. All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club.
Does Wimbledon take place in Glasgow? No?
What is this? The Open? Yeah, Wimbledon on. A couple of Canadians in the field, both on the men's and the women's. But again, lots of stuff going on. We won't spend too much time on that. But Mitch from Park Mazda is your dealer for life. Will, where can people find you on social media?
You cannot and don't even try.
Okay. Trev, he's gotten in the process of deleting apps and accounts from social media.
Come on. Good for you. What are you doing? What'd you get rid of?
Instagram.
Good for you.
That was a tough one.
That would have been really hard.
Yeah, I mean, that was like what, my whole childhood?
Yeah,
middle school.
It's highly
high school.
addictive, man, and not in a it's like geniuses have spent their entire lives figuring out how to hook you on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I looked at the screen time. I'm like, oh gosh, that's not good. So I'm going for sure until September 1. I want to see if I can do that.
Stay off.
Yeah, just stay off. But
Stay off.
my weekends, I'd go right on the reels, just scroll.
So YouTube does have their own sort of version of that. Their shorts that you can kind of, and it's less addictive.
It is, for sure.
YouTube's shorts are less addictive, so
nearly get us hooked on the YouTube shorts. As Instagram or TikTok.
You will not waste 3 hours without noticing.
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
Whereas that is not the case when it comes to TikTok or Instagram.
For sure. Yeah. So right now you can only find me on Twitter, YouTube _Trev.
Yeah.
So not bad.
I'm looking forward to some of your shorts.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Or Tommy's.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's just exactly.
Question number 1 on the goaltending front, as the Oilers are looking for one, maybe, perhaps, or maybe during the season. Favorite all-time goalie mask? I know we've done drafts on this. It's an easy question. It's one of those that you just toss up. It is summer, but
I'm gonna.
You mentioned too earlier, like goaltenders aren't what they used to be in terms of you had your figures and you could. Masks were such a thing, an iconic thing.
They
aren't anymore.
It always connects to your youth, and so, because that's the last time you've truly felt alive.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go Cujo, Edmonton Oilers.
And he had one of those masks that you could take to any team, which was nice. And you could, you knew it was recognizable.
Loved the guy, still love the guy.
Sure, yeah. That
Loved
helps.
the way he played, just like a man on fire.
Yeah. Trev, do you have a favorite goalie mask? I mean, there's the big ones.
I do.
Is it a modern style or?
Oh, yeah, it was kind of modern. I loved Roberto Luongo's mask growing up.
Yeah, it was
I
solid.
remember the C that he had on there. Yeah, that always stuck with me growing up. Every single one that he had, I was always drawn to it, even in Florida his early years. So, yeah, I'm going with Bobby Lou. I loved his masks.
Dominic Hasek, because it was the anti-goalie mask.
Artur Zerbe, if you really want to go down that one. Who had the best
The
nondescript?
non-mask.
Yeah. Boy, those were, man, that was ugly. I was like, that is just a bad look.
How did it not catch? Like, considering he's the greatest goaltender ever, Dominic Hasek.
Yeah.
Why is it a one and done? Like, why did we not see a whole bunch of kids come up behind
Dan
saying,
Kluche? Yes.
Is that the problem? Is that Dan Kluche went with
He
it? And everyone
ruined
was
it.
like, it's not the mask.
It's not the vibe that we're trying to. Brian Haywood's San Jose Shark mask.
Yeah, that
with
was
the
solid.
shark mouth.
Yeah.
That to me, I know Brian Haywood's not
Cujo
a.
was similar, right?
Yes, the mouth. I think you can always incorporate the, but the shark at the time
shark
in the
was great.
teal in the 90s and all that.
Yep.
McDonald's used to have those helmets that you would get, the miniatures. I mean, you had Belfour, you had Richter with the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
We have the Cujo one over here, actually.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a.
Cujo's fantastic.
780-218-9999. What was your favorite mask?
And
or
that
is your
save
favorite
on
mask?
Joe Nieuwendyk. Oh, my God. Still one of the greatest moments ever.
McDiesel says Ben Scrivens.
Oh, the old Scrivens.
Eddie Belfour's Eagle mask was awesome. That was kind of the one. Martin says Kelly Hrudey and his
$5 billion.
the Hollywood
that
mask,
mask.
from Kelly Hrudey. Hrudey's was different, but he still had paint on it, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of like
I always felt like Rudy was more known for his
square,
his bandana.
The bandana. Yeah. Question number 2. One forward that you see the Oilers bringing in during free agency.
During free agency.
Give me a name.
During free agency.
I mean, the free agent window cracks.
Yeah.
That can last, however long.
Honestly, I don't see them bringing a guy in. I honestly think that this is a team that's going to, they may acquire through trade. And I think they will acquire, especially starting at training camp.
It could be any way. Yeah, you can.
Starting at training camp. But I just don't see during this free agency window them jumping in. I'll be completely wrong about this. Like, this seems like a management group that knows a heck of a lot more about how to get this done than me. But there's not
shooting in the dark here.
Not that forward out there that either the Oilers have the cap room to go and get, or he has expressed a lifelong desire to be able to come back home to Edmonton.
Trev, do you have a name, not so much as a fantasy, but more of a reality, I guess, that you could see them going out and trying to wrangle in?
And I'm going to be boring, but I really don't. Like, just looking at the top 10, you're not getting anyone there. You look down, any of the players out of the 10 don't
Cody
really
Glass.
intrigue. Yeah, like that's not really moving the needle. They don't intrigue me.
But could you see
in
them
the
doing
slightest.
that? Not that it intrigues you, but
I don't.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do? That, like, it's.
I have a bit of a problem with the dialogue, because it seems like every year it's like they need someone for Leon Draisaitl. And it's like, and then the year ends and we go, they didn't find anyone, and Leon Draisaitl has 50 goals and 100 points. Like, the idea that there's a need, that Leon Draisaitl is underperforming unless they get him a winger, that just hasn't weighed out. And I think the Oilers agree with that. I think the Oilers are kind of like, Leon seems fine. Right? Leon seems like he can play with a Vasily Podkolzin.
Well, hey, they got those Euros coming in as well. Hey, Tomasek, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Question number 3, do you guys see an offer sheet being issued?
I would
League-wide,
think so.
not just with the Oilers.
No, I would think so. With the success the St. Louis Blues had, and with the diminished compensation to money spent, I honestly, I don't know why, if you're a team with cap space, why you aren't screwing around with every team that is up against the cap with RFAs.
I want more of it.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it is a good tactic to put your opposition in tough places where they have to make moves.
Over 1.5. Trev, do you think an offer sheet gets offered?
I think Armstrong might have started a trend.
I think we'll see 3. I think we'll see 3.
I think there's going to continue.
I love it.
To be more and more, maybe every year, maybe not more and more, but I think you're going to start, like, offer sheets are not going to be nearly as rare in the coming years. So I think maybe over 1.5, I'd take it.
Good point by Pinner's Pancakes in the Nasty Chat. I think Savoy and Philp will get a good long look and fully analyzed by trade deadline if they need an upgrade, and that is also an option there internally.
If Savoy doesn't get traded out to acquire either goaltending,
whatever, as long as he's here. Lucas says Beezer, John Van Beesbrook, he had a good mask. Potvin as well. A couple of love for Felix the Cat. That was a delicious looking
picks,
mask.
yeah.
And Mike Vernon from Big Dave was a good anti-goalie mask. Is Jeff in the bullpen? Is he? Okay, let's get the sports update here for Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge. We'll be back. Jeff Paterson, Canucks Army on the Kane trade. And what more do the Canucks have up their sleeve approaching tomorrow's draft? This is the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric Wil Fraser in for Dustin Nielsen on Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta.
The CFL gets underway tonight as the 0-2 Elks hit the road to take on the 2-0 Blue Bombers, where they have lost their last 12 matchups against Winnipeg. Running back Brady Oliveira is expected to miss his second straight game. Kickoff for this one going at 6:30, where Dustin Nielsen has the call. A trade to announce in the NHL as JJ Peterka has been traded to the Utah Mammoth. In return, Buffalo receives defenseman Michael Kesselring and forward Josh Doan. The NBA draft got underway last night, where Duke star Cooper Flagg does in fact go first overall, becoming the newest member of the Dallas Mavs, while the Toronto Raptors at 9th overall select Colin Murray Boyles from the University of South Carolina. Over to the majors, the Blue Jays lost to the Guardians last night. 5-4 is the score, and Max Scherzer's return. The Jays cap off their 3-game series against the Guardians later today. First pitch going at 11:10, and closer to home, the series is now split as the Victoria Harbor Cats edge out the Edmonton Riverhawks by the score of 6-4 last night. That series concludes later today, first pitch going at 6:30. The Energy City Cactus Rats look to snap their 4-game losing streak when they take on the Swift Current 57s, that one getting started at 1:05 today. And round 1 of the Rocket Classic is underway, where American Zach Johnson alone at the top of the leaderboard. He is 6 under through 10. While Canadian Adam Hadwin has fallen to 21st. He is 2 under through 13. The sports update presented by Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge. With wall-to-wall TVs, daily food, and drink specials, it's the place to be for every Elks game. Every day is game day at Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge.
It's the summer of George. It's time to vote on the Soji. Far and away, the best radio today. Who will it be? Summer of George, the Soji. Thank you. Thank you.
8:36, Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming on the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and of course on YouTube. If you are watching along this morning, hit that thumbs up, pound a like, and subscribe to the channel so you are kept up to date on anything and everything Edmonton sports. Of course, we got the Green and Gold kickoff show, Maddie and Milne tonight, 5:30, getting you set for Elks and Bombers kicking off week 4 in the CFL. We're coming to you live from the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studio. Our next guest, he joins us, host of Rink Wide Postgame, also a contributor to Sakaris and Price, and senior writer for Canucks Army, Jeff Paterson. He's been on before. We welcome him back to the program. Jeff, I know it's been a busy time out in Canuck land. We appreciate you making some
I'm
for us
moving
this
on you.
morning.
I gotta frame myself up. There we go.
Yeah, well, it's good. You're looking good here. Yeah, you got the rink
All right.
wide in the background. You've done all that work, so it's good.
Branding.
Let's start, I guess,
it's
with
all
the
about
Kane.
branding, right?
Yeah, well, you have to do that. We got the TV. You might as well have a little something as well. The Kane deal yesterday, though, it broke as we were completing our show. Let's Look, for the Oilers and the no retention and the cap space, it was good. I was going in on a few, Canucks threads on Twitter and everything, had to put on a hazmat suit. The reaction there from that side of the coin and that side of the deal.
Yeah, I think it was underwhelming, to say the least. And look, I don't have to tell you and your audience, Evander Kane's got a checkered past. He does. Now, by all accounts, he was on best behavior in Edmonton. Context matters. Like the last couple of years, the Oilers have been all in, eyes on the prize. And I think it was pretty important for anybody there to, toe the line and be a part of what they were trying to put together. And obviously had McDavid and Draisaitl at the top of the pyramid in terms of strong leadership. You guys know, and I've been on your show before, last year here in Vancouver was all about absolute dysfunction in that locker room. And I don't think the dust is fully settled. JT Miller doesn't play here anymore, but Elias Paterson, nobody seems to know what kind of Elias Paterson they're going to get when training camp begins. In fact, will he even be here? His trade protection kicks in on July 1st. I think he will. I mean, all sort of indications from the organization are that they're not going to trade him, that he'll be here when the season starts. But he just hasn't looked anything like the guy that was a 102-point player a couple of seasons ago. And so now you're introducing a player with the past of Evander Kane, a volatile past, let's be honest, into this locker room that is unstable at best with a rookie head coach. So I think for a lot of people, it wasn't so much the salary. It wasn't so much the fact that Evander is going to be 34 here in August. It was, this is a fragile group right now. And is this the piece that the Vancouver Canucks, needed to willingly go out and acquire to bring in and introduce into this mix? Again, if Evander is right and he's on and he's healthy, this is a team that can use some size and some snarl. And certainly if there are 20 goals left in Evander Kane, hey, they'll take that as well. But I think a lot of people, and certainly born in Vancouver, played for the Vancouver Giants, people are familiar with the player. They followed his career. Unfortunately, there has been some baggage, and he's made some poor decisions along the way. So, I think the people that are willing to look past a lot of that are the thought that I got yesterday from a lot of people in social was it's a contract year, right? If anything is going to keep a player on the straight and narrow and focused and bring out the best, then if Evander Kane wants a contract beyond the one that's going to expire at this time next year, then hopefully the Vancouver Canucks are acquiring the best version of Evander Kane, whatever that means and whatever that looks like.
I've been trying to steelman this trade for the Vancouver Canucks. And to do that, I've had to kind of look at Vancouver and go, is this an organization that is sure of what next season is going to be, or are they trying to build in an all scenarios type of situation? And one of those scenarios might be we're burning this whole thing down to the ground. And if that's the case, is an Evander Kane not a great pickup at the beginning of the season, but a really intriguing trade chip at the trade deadline for a team that's looking to add some picks?
And that was kicked around here yesterday as well. Although I guess when you've played for 6 teams in the National Hockey League, there go a number of opportunities in terms of trade part. Like, how many teams are going to truly be lining up to get Evander Kane at the age of 34, almost 35 a year from now, unless he does have a terrific season. And then, but that's right back on him, right? Like, a lot of this is on Evander Kane then to dictate how this season plays out in terms of not only the trade chip part, but also, is there a contract beyond this year? And this is a guy that, and we're going to meet him today. Well, I've met him before, but they're trotting him out here in Vancouver. We're going to have a chance to talk to him a little bit about the deal. And I know he took to socials yesterday and said his piece, but we'll get a chance to dig down a little deeper with Evander and sort of figure out why. I mean, we were led to believe that Vancouver was one of his preferred destinations. This isn't exactly a team that's contending right now. So for a guy coming off back-to-back runs of the Stanley Cup, this is a step back. And to your earlier point, I think really right now the Canucks are at a point in their competitive cycle and arc where they're throwing everything at the wall here and just hoping. The idea of burning it down, though, you've got Jim Rutherford, who at this advanced stage of his career was brought in to build a Stanley Cup contender. I don't think that jives with sort of why Jim was brought in here. You've got Quinn Hughes, who has this year and next left on one of the great value deals in the National Hockey League. And I don't think he has any interest in spinning his wheels and being part of any kind of rebuild. And in fact, so much of the talk out here is, doing everything in their power to convince Quinn Hughes that this is going to be the place to re-sign. And a year from now, he's eligible to talk extension. So, that's taken up a ton of oxygen on our shows and others in this market is, does he want to be here long-term? We know, obviously, with the brothers playing in New Jersey, that's a very real possibility that Quinn may decide that at some point here, especially if this team isn't showing any signs of progress and moving in the right direction, that he may want to pick up and move on. So it's a really interesting time. It's not the best of times in Vancouver when it comes to this hockey club. So adding Evander Kane at this stage, I think to me signals a little bit of desperation in as much as it's pretty clear just around the league right now, again, where look, the city of Vancouver is a great place to live, but it's not the most coveted destination for National Hockey Leaguers right now. And so I think you're going to see the Canucks get a little bit, maybe desperation is not quite the right word, but I think they're going to have to look at distressed assets, some other guys on short-term contracts, and try and cobble together a roster here. But again, I come back to the idea, is that what Adam Foote signed up for? First time National Hockey League head coach. And there's just a lot of questions out here about what kind of roster is this guy ultimately going to have to work with when training camp rolls around here in September.
Jeff Paterson joining us, rink-wide Vancouver Canucks Army. That leads us to our second point here. Wil Fraser, Lieutenant Eric with you. The goaltending. I'd like to get your thoughts on that whole aspect of the team. Shilovs, Abbotsford, Calder Cup, good for the organization there. Great story there following along that, although we were kind of selfishly hoping for a Jesse Puljujärvi checkers win down at Bojangles Coliseum. But here it is, Abbotsford Canucks. Artur Shilov's decorated at 24 years young. 5 NHL playoff wins under his belt as well. You got Demko, who is, the guy needs Top 3. Introduction there. And then Lankinen signed up. So where do you kind of see this goaltending picture crystallize for the Canucks moving forward?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a crowded crease. And, this past year, Artur Shilovs didn't require waivers, so they could shuttle him up and down.
Yeah.
And they used that effectively. And he would go down to Abbotsford and play and come back up, get some NHL starts. And then Demko got hurt. He was there as the backup, although he struggled in the National Hockey League this year. And it is funny. If the hockey season was only May and June, Artur Shilovs would probably skate right through the front doors of the Hockey Hall of Fame and all of his equipment. 2 years ago, he was the MVP at the World Hockey Championship in Latvia, backstopped his team to a medal. It was just a massive story. They had a national holiday in Latvia based on the work that he did, essentially leading Latvia to the success there. Last year, gets thrown into the pressure cooker of the NHL playoffs, the Nashville series. You guys saw him against Edmonton. And now here was terrific. 24 starts, played almost every minute. He got the hook early in one of the games in the AHL playoffs, but otherwise 16 wins and was the AHL playoff MVP. So something about springtime and Artur Shilovs. That said, when I talked to him the other day afterwards, when they got back from Charlotte, he spoke like a guy who truly believed that he had left the AHL behind now, that thought that winning a Calder Cup was a great way to cap his minor league career. Well, we'll see. But because he requires waivers, it's not quite as simple now for the Vancouver Canucks. Can't keep all three. It never works when you have 3 goalies on the roster, and I don't think that's in the plans for the Vancouver Canucks. And then, of course, Thatcher Demko is this massive wild card because when he is healthy and right and on, he has shown. He was the runner-up to Hellebuck for the Vezina 2 seasons ago, and last year had this popliteus, that was sort of the buzzword in Vancouver, this knee muscle injury that really he struggled to overcome and barely played any hockey last year. Yeah. So he's 1 year left on his contract at $5 million. I think he's a trade chip for the Vancouver Canucks, but man, you talk about a wild card.
Yeah.
I just don't know that there is a team out there that's willing to give the Canucks what they would like in return just because of the uncertainty around Thatcher Demko. But he's going to be 30 in December. So this isn't a young goaltender. This is a guy that's approaching the age of 30 with quite a history now of injuries and an inability to stay fully healthy. But man, even last year for a short span there, just before the Four Nations break, when he got on a run, and I think he played 5 of 6 games, and he was lights out good. And it was just a reminder of what he can be. But the hope is that he's had this now full off season where he ended the year, he said healthy. And so now he's going to have a summer to train and hopefully get ready, because he wasn't ready to go at training camp. And in fact, didn't make his debut last year till the 10th of December. So I wish I could clarify it for you a little bit more, but it's murky to say the very least. I think Kevin Lankinen is probably the lock to be here and start the season, but I think I could make convincing cases that both Artur Silovs and Thatcher Demko will likely be elsewhere when next season rolls around.
Canucks picking 15th, if I'm looking here. The draft also is obviously tomorrow from LA. Decentralized, much to our collective chagrin. How much more action do you see Vancouver doing, either prior, before, or after that pick? Is that in play? What are your thoughts kind of heading into July 1 surrounding this team?
Yeah, well, I think the prevailing thought out here was that 15th pick was absolutely destined to be dealt. On its own, I don't think it maybe got the value that the 15th pick would some other years, just based on the quality of the draft and the amount of other picks that I believe are available in and around 15. So I think it would be a key part of a package if you're the Vancouver Canucks. And again, this Abbotsford team, I think some guys stepped up. Are they trade chips? Perhaps. This is a team that has sort of reshaped its defense, and they used the first pick on Tom Willander, a right-hand shot 2 years ago, signed with the team, but there's a lot of talk that maybe he's in play. Jonathan Lecker-Mackey was their first rounder a couple of years ago, 15th overall, was part of the Abbotsford run there. Another player that I think other teams would covet if they're looking at what the Vancouver Canucks have. So Jim Rutherford's been an aggressive guy throughout his career. Again, this team is nowhere close to where it wants to be. It can't just run it back with what they had last year. They're going to probably lose Pia Suter and Brock Besser to free agency. So they weren't good enough last year, and now you're looking at two guys that were among their leading scorers last year. And that's why, it is a little bit bleak unless they pull a rabbit or two out of their hat here in the next week to 10 days. So I do expect the Canucks to be ambitious and aggressive, but the same goes for so many of the teams around the National Hockey League at this time of the year. So, for weeks, I didn't think there was a chance they were going to use 15, but right now it seems all is quiet around the Canucks. Of course, that can change in those hours leading up to the draft, but if they get a guy at 15, you're getting probably a decent player, but not a guy that you're going to plug into next year's lineup. You're looking at a guy that's going to be a couple of years away. So they need help, and that's why I still think that that 15th pick very much in play. And then beyond that, we'll see. They've got a little bit of cap space, but they also spent $5 million yesterday on Evander Kane. Does that cloud or clog what else they had planned to do? As I said, I don't think Vancouver's top of the list for a lot of guys right now in free agency. And so they're probably looking at shopping in the discount bin. Is that going to be enough to patch the holes that they need? I mean, they need top of the lineup talent. Well, you're not going to get it sort of in that secondary free agent market. So, it's a bit of a strange time right now in and around the Vancouver Canucks. And I don't know that that's going to change an awful lot over the next week. I expect that they'll be active, but I just don't know that they're going to be able to pull off everything that's on their lengthy to-do list.
Why are they not just talking to their own UFAs? Tell me from the outside looking in, like Suter seems like a really solid centerman in today's NHL. Besser is proven. So what is the disconnect between player and management that has led to these guys not being under contract?
Yeah, the Besser one it's curious because Brock has been nothing but a loyal Canuck. He's just a solid dude. Off the ice has been a pretty prolific scorer for them. 40 goals last year. He's not a 40 goal on the regular, but good for 25 to 30. And again, if you're going out into free agency and you're spending to try and find that, you've got your own guy here. And for whatever reason, since day one that this management group came in, they've kind of run him down. They've said some curious things about him publicly. Foot speed's an issue. And I think the thinking here is that the management didn't want to commit to him anything close to a max deal. And so their best offer, we're left to believe, was around $8 million for 5 years. Well, he's a 28-year-old going to unrestricted free agency with a 40-goal season on his resume. He's probably going to be able to do better than $40 million total compensation. If he can get 7 years at $7 million from somebody else, I mean, that's an extra $9 million. So I don't blame him and his camp for, there's loyalty and there's hometown discounts, but there's also just the reality you're not going to leave almost $10 million on the table. Yeah. So I get where Besser's coming from. And again, management hasn't exactly, they've tried to peddle him in the past, had some trouble finding takers when he was at the low ebb of his career. But no, there'll be teams. It already sounds like there are teams lining up to give Besser something closer than he wants. And with Pia Suter, look, last year was an outlier year. He had 25 goals.
Yeah.
Great time to do it, right?
Yeah.
Platform year, unrestricted free agent. I still think of Pia Suter as closer to a 15 to 20 goal guy who just happened to top out at 25. He was put in some situations that maybe he wouldn't get on a good team, but Canucks traded JT Miller away. He stepped up. He took advantage of an opportunity to play higher in the lineup. This guy is as versatile as they come in the National Hockey League. Can play center, can play wing, power play, was part of a penalty kill that finished third in the National Hockey League, and he was usually one of the first guys over the boards. Like, I think he's going to be an attractive piece as well in unrestricted free agency. I just think that he's going to try and negotiate off a 25-goal season, and the Canucks are a little bit leery. And look, they know the player as well or better than just about anybody. So it sounds like the Suter camp wants $4.5 to $5 million. Cap's going up. If you're the Canucks, I think at some point maybe you just you bite and you think the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Maybe you just have to step up here and give Suter closer to what in fact he's looking for, because again, going to be difficult to replace everything that he did and everything that he meant to the Vancouver Canucks.
Should be an interesting and curious market to kind of keep an eye on and follow from a distance. But Jeff Paterson, Rink Rod, Vancouver, Canucks Army, appreciate your time this morning, man. I know it's busy. Happy draft eve, and enjoy the madness to come in the next week or so.
Yeah, it's never dull out here, and we are hoping that Evander is true to his character. Like, I hope he rolls up to Rogers Arena today for this media availability in some sort of supercar. Like, don't change the stripes now, right? Like, come on. You've come this far. Why not announce your arrival? So we'll see what Evander has to say later today.
Jeff Paterson, thanks so much, man.
You bet, guys.
There you have it, Jeff Paterson. Great breakdown of what's going on out in Canuckland, Canucks Army Rinkwide, Vancouver there. Yeah, let's get to the wrap here for William Huff. We got 7 minutes till the hangout. I know it's buzzing in here right now. Tommy's here. He's got his nice Riverhawks hat on. Pants today, no shorts. I know, much too.
Oh, looks like he's got the meat.
Hey, and he does have the meat. Look at this. Tommy's got the meat. Let's just, it's nice that you kept it refrigerated and everything.
Good to see you.
Beautiful. We'll all have a pull on this. Yeah. You must. Okay. Did you give a little taste as well yourself? A little jerky? Yeah, a little pull. Oh, there's pep sticks in there too. Woo-hoo. Who's on the hangout today? What do we got? Brock Boot? Yeah. Hey, Brock. Maddie Awanik, just the three of you? Okay, perfect. That's coming up. 9 o'clock, the hangout. Keep it locked on here. If you are on YouTube, it'll carry over. Turn the autoplay on, and it'll be simple as that. Of course, diving into more Oilers stuff, a little bit of Elks Bombers as well, as they kick off Week 4 tonight in the CFL. But the wrap right now for William Huff. If you want your place to look as good as ours, visit the team at William Huff, www.williamhuff.com. In business since 1952, so you know they're incredible at what they do. William Huff. Gentlemen, what did we learn on the show today? We'll go around the horn, starting with you, Will.
Well, we just learned the Vancouver Canucks have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, and we love it.
Because they don't know who or what they are, right?
No identity.
And they don't want to make a choice, right? They don't want to make a call.
Purgatory is always the most dangerous spot, hey?
Dude, in a
that's
what I mean by
drafting
the
league.
Burn it down. It's like, at what point do you go, yeah, Hughes isn't re-signing here. He's not. And so right now we will get the maximum return for him.
Yeah.
Right. Paterson, if we don't trade him now, he becomes untradeable. So we, once again, we just burn it. We go full San Jose Sharks at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We go and sign guys that we're just going to flip at the deadline. It's interesting. I mean, him talking about Evander Kane. And only because we've watched him over the last several playoffs. But if I am a playoff team, he's the exact guy I want to go and get. Because I don't want 82-game regular season Evander Kane.
Sure,
I don't want him.
he's a mercenary.
I don't want him around
parachute
my
him in.
club.
Yeah.
But because the playoffs are such a different game, it is not the regular season anymore. If I'm the Dallas Stars, if I'm the Colorado Avalanche, any of those teams that are banging on the front door but not getting in.
Yeah,
Los Angeles. Ask LA what Evander Kane does.
Yeah,
he knocks you out of the playoffs for 4 straight years. Is what he does.
Yeah, and Canucks, as you say, should be waving the white flag as they traditionally do out in Vancouver.
Like if you're not actually putting yourself in a position.
No, if you're not winning, you should lose. The formula is there. It's there for the taking. Stars also making some news this morning. They are apparently finalizing their head coaching choice. Gulletson is among one of the favorites right now, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. They also signed Jamie Benn this morning, pending UFA, to a 1-year bonus-heavy deal. Bonuses carrying up to $4 million. So there's that news coming out of the Big D. Trev, what did you learn on today's show? The neti pot.
Yeah, I learned Bruce Boudreau isn't necessarily a fan of CM Punk or John Cena, I guess.
He was pretty blunt on that,
which is kind of cool. I learned that Reid Wilkins does not like camping.
He had
not
beef,
a camper.
He had beef with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I necessarily like that.
He's a city man.
Yeah,
he's an urban guy. Hey,
city
like
folk,
he's
for sure.
The grime of the downtown really attracts him.
Yeah, and then plethora of nasties sent me where I can go get the cheapest reactant for my seasonal allergies.
Okay.
So I learned that, and I learned where to go.
You're not buying name brand though, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Like you're going in, you're finding the name brand that you like, and then you're just going to the in-store
PC.
generic.
The PC
yeah.
And you're flipping it over.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, you're flipping it over.
And
you're
then
looking at your active ingredients and just finding the one that matches, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't buy the brand.
No, just buy the ingredient. The
But he's saying
whatever the percentage of pseudoephedrine that you need.
I think you'll be going to a parking lot later today and getting right. Somebody sent you a number.
Yeah.
Text me once. I'll phone back.
Yep.
The pager's on.
Yeah.
Out of the trunk of a car. 2 texts here, and I'll leave it to you two to choose here. We'll do a voting process here. Text of the day for A&W right now. $20 on the line. First text, Pat in the county, and it's pillar to post. Pat was in the opening hour. This lineup is more stacked than that chick behind Tippett.
It's a throwback.
Going on today's show, we had tons of guests. That's what he was referring to. The chick behind Tippett, of course, with the Gazungas.
I haven't been relevant since Tippett, so it makes sense.
Bones chimes in on this Canucks conversation. Adam Foote's nose is so big he can smell Sunday roast on a Thursday. So where do you guys want to go? The Adam Foote nose joke or the tits behind Tippett?
Solid joke. Didn't have much to do with the show.
Okay, so I see where you're going here. Trev, where would you come out on this one?
I'm
Foote
going
or
with the
Tippett?
first one.
Tippett?
Yeah,
okay.
Tippett.
It's unanimous
I love
then.
you, Bones.
This lineup is more stacked than that chick behind Tippett. Pat in the county, you're going A&W. That is your text of the day for A&W, and we will have another $20 on the line on tomorrow's show, a Friday show, which should be nice. We have show meat, which we can probably get into here post-show, maybe even tomorrow. We'll have Panino's for the Italian Center and a Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, no fasting tomorrow.
I came at the right time.
Yeah, you'll be coming at the right time tomorrow, I think,
that's
too.
what she
Yeah,
said.
yeah. Well, yeah. Geez. Sound of the day, real quickly here. Jays, once again, they'll be playing their series down in Cleveland. We did have, they did lose yesterday in extras, but they did get a home run from Vladdy, your daddy.
How you like me now? How you like me now? How you like me now?
Hey, where'd you get that body from? Where'd you get that body from? Where'd you get that body from?
I got it. Pulls it down the left field line. Gone! There it is, right there. Daddy, I got it.
Hey, where'd you get that body from?
There you go. We got it from blah. Jays and Guardians later today. Also later tonight, of course, week 4 in the CFL. Elks on the road in Winnipeg. 0-2 Edmonton taking on 2-0 Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And we'll get you set for that 5:30 Maddie and Milne Green and Gold kickoff show right here on EST. Getting you set, and the boys will be breaking it down as well in the Green and Gold postgame show following. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today on the show. Dustin Nielsen will have the call tonight. You'll be back tomorrow. Hangout's coming up next with Maddie and Gazzola. Stay tuned for that. If you're on YouTube, keep it on the autoplay. It'll take you right over. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Talk to you tomorrow.